puzzle missing. We'll see what they're able to do here as the nature is grasping. Does manage to stun up Canyon. He can get over that.
Halo guys, welcome. Gue toilet dulu bentar guys ya.
So much damage. Lain takes the kill. And T1, they had the trap set up, but Genji don't want to go there. As now Ona trying to dash back. Keen says, no, I'm going to buy time for my teammates as Carrier comes over. The Winter's Bite does nothing in Keen. He just wants to fight again. They'll take the Baron, and Keen gets back into position. And now Canyon is just crashing into them. The two-man impale as well. And Genji will destroy the Baron, destroy the team fight. And I think they're looking for the game. Gumayushi is not going to stay undying this Worlds.
It is a systematic dissection of T1. One by one they fall, one by one the objectives follow. Genji, calm, calculated, just eviscerate T1.
Oh, and that's straight into Soul as well.
The Nexus might not fall, but this game really should be over. Baron here for Genji. Hextech Soul on top of it. And let's be fair, this is what we all wanted.
Oh yeah, and this is beautiful execution of this draft as well.
Let's go.
Start to finish, as you can see T1 4 versus 5 desperation, but they knew if they let this Baron go, they're just going to slowly lose again.
What's crucial here is Genji giving absolutely no window to flip the game. With Kindred in particular, it's so easy to get over the wall, and we see that he is just being systematically denied access, and the Keen value this Jax does so much into these carries, just can't deal with him.
Oh, Faker pakai ini.
Him just standing there.
Pakai silas.
Hyper Sector bilang yang dukung T1 bakalan nangis malam ini.
Ya, iya.
You lose a crucial part of your front line. So there's no way for them to
he's
approach.
stressed out, man. Always fantastic to check out the Genji coaching stuff, but like you say, once again back in.
Wah, menang ini janji kayaknya cuy.
Oh my god.
Tuh selebor itu siapa Kur? Mamang Garok kan itu?
They really want to finish this game right here, right now. Look at that, another Void Seeking going to connect. And Zap onto that Caitlyn. They can't walk up. Like how are they supposed to stop this freight train from crashing into their base?
Gimana cara tuh ada Baron nih?
In a matter of seconds, it's a 10,000 gold lead plus here with this Hextech Soul, and T1 once again throwing out some grasping nature. They try to line up behind their tank, and it is
sakit banget, cow. Udah full CC gitu nggak bisa ngedamage, Njir. Beda level, anjir. Wah, kayaknya T1 nggak ada di final ini, cow.
Alfian Kalisto bilang harus berapa view dulu baru dukung T1.
Kita dukung T1 kalau 300 view, guys.
Dismantled them from start to finish, objective control, the team fights. I mean, this is the series that we want.
Yeah, this is what we wanted.
And the impact of Lahen's
Good draft, bad rotation.
I think whichever support is going to have more impact is going to keep looking better and better in this series.
And what this series has so far been about is execution of your game plan from the draft. And so far it's been beautiful for both winners. Time for us to go to a break. When we get back, we'll see what they have cooked for us in Game 3.
Faker capek hentot sama penonton terus. Kenapa emang dia introvert, coy? Wih. Anjing keren banget dong. Siapa nih sih? Diana. Siapa di tengah tuh? Vigo. Klik card plus gak ada diskon ke bang? Gak ada cuy, udah di set murah cuy.
Halo bang.
Halo Nadi. Red Bull give you wing. Beliin bang, apa tuh yang dibeliin? Dari awal LoL, Kuro udah jadi wibunya Packer. Dukung Janji itu gimmick. Enggak cuy, gue dukung Janji bro. Janji the best bro.
Cuman gue nonton 2 game turu banget awalnya.
Siapanya? Oh gameplaynya.
Ini, iya.
Farming doang game satunya.
Game 1 game 2.
Kurokuma bilang geng dari
awalnya
kemarin draftnya pada Champions tebel bosan lihatnya.
Janji dari kemarin draftnya pada champion tebel-tebel bosen. Pengen menang banget Janji coy. Mana gua Janji ya bakal menang sih, kayak nggak yakin aja T1 cuy. Based on feeling ya. Ini kalau T1 kalah gue sedih, gue belain beli jersey T1. Kayaknya sih bakal kalah cuy.
Wahai pebisnis dunia, Buka atau Buka multi currency. Bisa transfer valuta asing 24 jam, dana diterima utuh, biaya transaksi dan kurs murah. Dan real time kan? Buka tabungan multi currency sekarang.
Mas, skip iklan. Ini nih adminnya mencet iklan nih anjir, mentang lagi break ini Bang Kim. Oke, makan dulu guys. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kagak premium. Ini akun YouTube Small Fun gitu. Tim negara mana aja nih? Korea dua-duanya. T1 kalau lawan Cina menang, lawan Korea kalah cuy. Berarti yang top 3 di ininya siapa dari di Korea? Janji,
HLE, Genji,
lagi?
sama T1 kayaknya ketiga itu kan. Iya, T1 ikutannya ketiga.
Oh bukan yang keempat T1 ya?
Bukan, 4 Damon.
The Grubs and the Herald going over the Genji, but the second dragon of the game.
Oh, okay. He just wanders on in there. Take the Baron, and Key gets back into position. And now Kenny is just crashing into them. The two-man impale as well. And Genji will destroy the Baron on the killer instinct. His name is his second one. The Lancer Spike going to keep them alive for now, but who's it healing?
Ini Khodam beli Australia.
You thought this was Worlds? No, this is the LCK and will bring you back down to earth by beating you the most exceptional way we know how. by macroing you until you fall asleep.
Hey, I loved that game. I'm also 10 of the most boring people I know. No, but this was
10?
All 10. This was classic Genji, right? Like they set up exactly what they wanted to do in draft, and they executed it really,
Bahas
really
apa, Kur?
well. They knew exactly where they
bahasa
wanted to be on
Inggris.
the map. They got a little bit of help from that nice like drive-through smite steal. But yeah, like this is the Genji that we saw in LCK. This is the Genji that we expected.
Just so people don't get angry, I also love seeing great macro
it's
play.
It's
I was just leading us in, okay?
It's a joke.
Yeah. On the opposite side of the draft, I felt like T1 weren't playing to what was their strengths, right? Like when I looked at red side coming in, I thought they were going to set up really nicely.
Rekor menang masih dipegang Genji pas ketemu T1.
On my bingo card,
Berapa banyak jawab beda aja.
At any point in time in this tournament, and I felt like it was a lot of missed opportunities because as they came into it,
Gak main belum, baru 1-1 skor.
they could have just gone for the Silas in the position that they picked the Braum. You already know you're up against.
Lama juga ya, kalau nggak salah ini tadi mulai jam berapa? Jam 7 deh. Jam 8.
Lupa, seinget gue mulai duluan ini malah dibanding yang dominator ya. Atau barengan gitu, lupa saya itu.
Ya dominator tadi ini juga sih, lama delay.
I completely agree. You know, Carry has been so good on things
Ngerti
with
nggak
mobility.
lu ngomong apaan? Kalau listening gue bisa sih. Walaupun nggak semuanya ya, vocab gue nggak terlalu banyak soalnya.
Zeus, to me, is the most dangerous player on T1, and you're putting him on the tank, and you're putting a Kindred early pick in the hands of Owner, when Owner has been so good as you're engaged. It feels like a lot of things are just kind of swapped around for the actual players that you would feel like. That being said, the early lane swap, Genji got such a big advantage. Lane swap wards were great. They saw T1 trying to go for match. T1 were so dizzy, and Genji got a massive, massive lead out of the early game.
Yeah, I mean, it was glorious.
T1 masih belum pernah menang dari World 2023 ngelawan Genji maksudnya.
The big point for me on this one was the
lawan Genji.
T1 had in the early stages meant that Carry didn't hit level 2 because they didn't know if there's
MSI kemarin nggak ada faker ya?
He didn't get onto mid wave. He gets caught on the level 1. Then they get the dive here onto Zeus, who did play really, really well to manage
faker apa World?
Bukan MSI.
Oh, MSI itu Genji lawan siapa? Gue juga lupa. Kayaknya Genji lawan Cina juga. Biar juga gitu.
This was in particular really good for Genji. They've classically been really, really good in these lane swap situations. We're talking about them as the best lane swap team in the world, which is why
kayak ini kita kecilin dikit ya guys ya, karena nggak terlalu penting sudah caster aja.
In game 1, this is a very restabilization for them.
It's true, and it's like you got everything you wanted.
Maaf,
All you
Jonas.
had to do was play it out, and you are the most adept team in the world to do that. It does make me think, and we had this conversation backstage.
MSI 2024 finalnya BLG.
All of us were a little like Carry on the Braum, a bit disappointed, but I feel like this is one of those things that T1 would do
Ya
in
bagus lah
a
minum
draft
cuy.
too.
Kan kalau
After
misalnya
winning
ini
the
kan
game
berkeringat
one, right?
capek.
Because if this series gets played out, there's 4 or 5 games and Carry hasn't pulled out that trump card.
Minum itu termasuk stress release.
About the general ability of T1, because that has been their strat, is one of the reasons why they won Worlds 2023.
Yeah, I think this to me was T1 trying to test the waters and say, hey, look, if we just say we are going to absorb the dive and try and play within that space, maybe we can find something different. And as Kobe was already alluding to, like a carry pick for Owner was not what I expected when he's been incredible on picks like the Void thus far at the tournament. So it definitely felt like teasing the waters in the same way that we saw Genji do so game 1 with the Yone. But now coming back into it, I think I'd want to see T1
Oh nggak ya dipegang sama mereka ya? Oh mau ya.
having Carry open up on the map, because it was actually Lehens who dictated a lot of that support matchup for me in this early stage of the game. He looked significantly better, and it was catching Carry out or catching.
Oke banget coy, dapat duduk di situ anjing.
Already broke this game open for Genji.
You had called it out before. Lehens listened to you.
I had to just disappoint him,
Lehens
you know.
heard you directly. I also think it'll be interesting now as we saw T1 going back to the blue side. I don't expect
Bisa atau AWC via login? Nggak bisa cuy.
up again going into game 3. So I'm curious to see if
Amat sangat rendah hati.
strategy affects what T1 want to get on that blue side.
Selain rendah hati itu juga ini sih. Apa?
Continue to put a
Woi, redemption moment.
level 1s and these lane swaps, because again, I really feel like the information gathering at the beginning
Jagain match juga cuy.
down, you know, allow for
Sesombong apapun orang.
domino effect that we see
Sebejat apapun orang kalau lagi di kondisi tadi itu pasti mereka mau megang tangan, cuy. Masalah itu karirnya di situ, bro.
Blue sides, but now we get into the real meat of a best of 5.
Yeah, first it's like the entree, the course, right? And we're gonna get to the main dish. Indeed, I just think the demarcation lines that have been drawn. If you look across games 1 and 2, because we can't forget.
Kecuali si Bobby yang itu, yang nge-fake kaya itu, mungkin nggak bakal dipegang.
They were completely in control. So for me, the momentum feels a little bit shifted towards a T1 that has to make something happen.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is going to be trying to get access to the map early and trying to play for some of the early void grubs and getting in your control that way, because it was a big risk in this game as well, where they gave across all 6 of those void grubs, trying to cross.
Predict skor, kayaknya 3-1 sih. Menang Janji.
And if you actually think back to the start of game 1, it was T1 off to an early lead. I think it was mistake.
LCK tadi tembus 800k. Dikit juga ya. Yang kemarin yang BLG WBG ya. 2 juta aja.
I wonder if Atlas has taken off his jacket yet, or if he's still in his full 3-piece suit, even though it's boiling in here.
Too committed to the 3-piece. I love this suit so much. I've worn it on 2 other occasions. One of them was a world final. The other one was my wedding. This is how you know that I guarantee this is going to be an incredible series. Those were the other 2 best days of my life.
We thank you for your work, Atlas. It's greatly.
Becker udah ini belum sih? Keluar pick-pickan menariknya? Gak ada ya?
No surprises, although Yone ban coming out on the side of T1 here. Aurora still going to get taken out. The Ash still up, Skarner still up as well.
Udah 4 juta core di game 1. Oh, udah tadi, Tiwan. Ngeri juga 4 juta anjing.
The BLG approach, as we like to call it, certainly a favorite for them.
Total view ini.
That went pretty well, you could say, for BLG. We'll see
Tiwan lawan Janji.
exactly where Genji are going to go. Not deciding to switch up the picks here, as it will be the Jacks to be locked in first. And I think that, you don't talk about hovers is something that we sometimes talk about. This is a hover that you can probably talk about.
Ini kalau kalah dia perebutan nomor 3 kan tadi?
Kalau kalah udah buka ntar ini teh.
Apa nggak ada nomor 3 aja?
Oh, lupa. Nggak tahu lupa. Gue just yang baru tuh. Kayaknya
nggak ada guys.
Perebutan nomor 3. Nggak ada kan? Nggak ingat gue juga soalnya emang pernah nggak ada. Jadinya udah ada standing
kalau nggak salah nggak ada.
Itu iya. Cuman gue lupa cara nentuinnya tuh lewat apa gitu. Dari history match-nya kayaknya nggak tahu.
3-4 sama price-nya.
Also ties into Chovy's approach. Often as a player, if he thinks a champion is the best, we'll just keep picking that until the antithesis is proven. Renata coming through. Again, Carrier having an incredible game, and we will call it for this, and I love it here as well. Always gonna feel strong. The only thing for Genji, you do have the opportunity to pick up like Ezreal here. Doesn't mean your jungle pool is gonna get pinched, but getting a non-station.
Lu kira Hawk ada juara 3-nya? Most of Esport ada nomor 3-nya, Cok.
Iya.
Bukan most of Esport anjir. Most of competition anjing.
Is going to be locked away. Canyon, he is sick of playing this Skarner, and I could understand. No shade cap, but I don't know. It just doesn't do very.
Ini harusnya ini kan Zeus kan yang pakai itu.
You are setting up very
Dragasi ya.
Genji. You imagine that's going to be banned away by T1. The backline threat onto the Ash.
Wih, kepake terus ini sih ini.
I think is
Assassin ini. Kira G2 doang yang pakai aja.
Nggak tahu sih, cuma itu mau dikomboin sama apa pasti ada combo. Ya, paling mentok combo sama Hari doang.
Iya, Hari doang, tapi nggak begitu ya.
Nggak begitu.
Wih, keren banget aja pialanya. Kalau nggak salah World ini pialanya ada yang bergilir gitu ya, iya nggak sih?
Iya. Kalau dari dulu sih jadi pialanya tuh kayak dibalikin ditaruh lagi gitu. Piala yang sebelumnya.
Oh, berarti kan piala itu sebenarnya ada 2 nggak sih? Yang buat menangnya, satu lagi buat digilar gitu ya?
Jadi emang kayak ada ritualnya pas final tuh, biasanya final tuh ditaruh dulu. Atau pas awal lupa. Pas final kayaknya.
insanely annoying that look to play.
Kok nge-lag? Lu itu mah gue nggak ada nge-lag.
Go back to his Shen. That's what was going to happen.
But it's
As there's the
Ezreal.
Ezreal, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, he could still theoretically play Shen, but it's not going to be a
I like the
Ada replika ditaruh di Gia. Oh, replikanya.
It makes a lot of sense in the context of how Genji like to play. These two last picks.
Sama di pialanya tuh diukir kan ya? Wewenangnya.
Di bawahnya kalau nggak salah. Nama-nama tim yang udah pernah juaranya tuh.
They've been doing a good job together. The question is, what plan have they got for Canyon Chovy?
Wanting probably a little bit of physical damage from that mid lane. We'll see where T1 are.
Wow, seriusan anjing.
Okay, Yasuo could be an option.
Langsung bersorak anjir baco kalau kayak begitu di pick packer anjing.
Hasn't been playing it very much this year, however.
Gue pernah dipakai packer nih coy.
Competitively like 80 different champions, so he's fine, and that's going to be the Vi locked away for Owner, although they do have a bit of time to think about.
Tapi kok hype-nya kurang anjir?
And so it's relying on Vi and Ashe as far as that physical damage is concerned.
Gue kira bakal berisik banget tuh karena dia nge-pick Akali, Cok.
But the way to start fights is what we were looking for after game 2.
It's such a peak T1 comp as well. So much upfront burst, allowing you to play towards that bailout, which is something they love to do.
Karakter lu ngalangin. Udah kelihatan itu, coy.
And playmaking potential. And what is Lahen's gonna pick here? This time the Blitzcrank is open. But it looks like instead they're going to go for something a lot more well-rounded, and he did have a really good game on it in game number 2.
Yep, the pretty standard option in the rel. But like you say, I actually think playing for Lahens' comfort is a really good idea after.
Ini Genji nggak pick yang tebel-tebel lagi, cuy.
Because Lahens has kind of been the weak link here for Genji. Not in game 2 though. Trying to carry that one forward does make a lot of sense.
Now, when we think of Faker, there are a slew of champions that you can attribute to his name, right? Of course, Akali is definitely up there in terms of a champion that he's had a lot of presence on, but Knight yesterday beautifully demonstrated what this champion can do to an Ezreal. And that is what T1 is envisioning in this game. That level of execution.
Tempat gua kok panas banget, Bang. Nanya semua tuh anjing. AC beli AC.
Alongside you with the potential of the Ash Arrow pick. No cleanse is going to save you from a Vi and an Akali duo, but it's about being in a position to really execute on that.
X21 Tranialbers bilang ini memang drafting T1 jarang pakai tank ya, Kur.
Nggak tahu juga sih gue, cuy.
Ash isn't going to have an easier time in this game compared to the Caitlyn on the last one. Renata's going to be crucial in the usage of the ultimate, and I think that again, Genji have a pretty straightforward and easy comp to execute.
I would agree. I think that there is a lot of pressure on T1, but I want to go back to what you were saying, Chronicler. This is a T1 draft. We were watching the World Final last year. The only difference about this one in comparison to that is that was a mental snowball that they were rolling on, right? This was a T1 that was sweeping a series. This time, they have to utilize it to come
Oke, let's go. Belum let's go sih, ini baru farming doang nih.
Cuman yang ini kayaknya jauh lebih tabrak-tabrakan sih dari champion-champion mah.
Iya. Ada Gragas, ada Vi.
Gragas, Vi, Akali, Aseng ulti, sebelah Nocturne Ahri. Waduh. Mau diapain tuh?
Waduh. Waduh. Agak ngapain sih ngecek situ?
That ward so crucial. Spotting Zeus out. I don't think Chovy's flash was necessary, but he committed it anyway to guarantee that pick. And Genji start off game 3 with first blood.
And Chovy's flash doesn't even matter all that much because it's a Kali.
Dari game 1 si Zeus dikeroyok mulu. Oh, di camping nggak?
So he should be absolutely fine navigating this one. He's also Chovy does kind of like the laning phase in general, as we're going to see standard lanes here for likely the first time.
Do have Pays now walking up. Tear from the start.
Oh God.
Something you're going to be very happy about just in what it means for your spikes, because obviously it doesn't really give you any combat stats early. And in this lane, Lahens and Pays are just playing to clear the waves, don't be diveable, and get to your items. 2 items for Ezreal is always the main breakpoint. From that point on, he only gets stronger. And we do see Both junglers starting on opposite sides of the map, although Canyon, I think, started his Raptors then path down. Whereas Owner just doing a full top side clear and maybe looking to impact this bot side. And these trades are actually really valuable because it could set up for a possible dive towards the bot side of the map.
I will say, it's nice to see move away from the lane swap, only because while T1, I think, in the Swiss stage really had phenomenal execution on the lane swap, this, to me, is the bread and butter of Gumayushi and Carrier. Their 2v2 laning prowess has been so incredible. And while I think there's Summer, of course, question marks always when it comes to T1 and Summer, at this World Championship, watching this bot lane 2 versus 2 has been a joy to watch. And you're seeing it right now. They know.
Ini kemarin gue lihat di bannernya, Chovy katanya belum pernah ini ya menang World ya.
Iya, belum. MSI juga kan baru menang tahun ini.
Baru menang tahun ini MSI deh.
Iya.
Tapi emang dia jago banget dia.
Jago. Soalnya dia selama di regional tuh pasti keren banget dah. Pokoknya kayak carry gimana gitu, MVP ya deh. Cuman masuk ke yang world, yang udah world kan itu bom-boman. Iya. Kayak gak ngapa-ngapain gitu kelihatannya. Baru tahun ini doang yang dia kelihatan banyak gaya.
Kok di game ini itemnya nggak turun dari langit ya, harus balik ke base. Iya cuy.
Doran shield to kind of mitigate and heal back up in this.
Kata sih kalau Faker pensi ada penerusnya Chovy. Berarti dia top 2-nya nih sekarang nih.
Really get caught off guard by just the extra amount of health that can give you. Akali in particular plays around kill windows so well.
Bahkan sebenarnya kalau dari laning segala lebih jago Chovy sekarang hitungannya dibanding Faker.
Obviously Canyon just wants to do exactly this, which is just farm, and even though they don't spot him directly, if they see his top side is down, we'll notice.
Cuman kalau Faker tuh masih menang di kayak apa ya, decision making, lagi fight dia harus ngapainnya tuh kadang nge-clutch terus.
Not looking good, already chunked to half, and Owner is on the top side of the map.
And full information over to T1 as well as Canyon walks over that ward. They knew exactly, they had an idea of where he was, but then they get full confirmation. Now Canyon going to try and clear that one out, does get information of the ward he just walked over.
Yeah, read the movement.
Yeah, as a result, Keen actually just going to go for a recall right here, not wanting.
Tapi Chovy kayaknya masih muda banget aja. Di bawah 24 nih kayaknya.
Ezreal Frostfire, welcome to membership Kuro-chan ya bro.
Welcome Ezreal.
It's very awkward for him because Chovy's holding on to a monstrous freeze. The idea is Faker, you try and get those early pushes in, then you get the bounce back. But Chovy's like, no, I'm good. Now the wave will finally bounce back, but he ticks over to level 6. Ideally, Faker wants to back now so that the wave will freeze here. And now Chovy.
Harusnya dia pakai skin Faker gak sih anjing?
Faker, it will be crucial if he does.
Anjir.
He was on that ward, as we could see. I thought he was actually just a prophet, but no.
Oh, they've actually brought the bot lane over towards mid to catch this wave. Faker can now actually TP bots and go lane against Pays, who can still...
Oh, body slam going to miss. That could be a big deal here. They're evening out the health trades that have been going pretty consistently in Zeus' favor.
Chovy looking to TP back towards his lane. Will be able to do so. And the first objectives spawning now.
Kenapa di game LoL itu pace gamenya lambat banget? Gak kayak Dota, apa karena lebih sering farming ya? Bukannya Dota lambat juga ya?
Dota lebih lambat anjir.
There's going to be a trade here. Does mean that this time Genji not going to have the Jax with an unreasonable amount of grubs. Even early trades here.
Certainly feels good for T1.
Skinnya mahal kata Chovy. Ini skinnya kebuka semua mah cuy. Akun ini nih, premium ini.
Akun turnamen semua skin tuh kebuka.
And I think both teams are quite happy with the current game state. Obviously, T1 are setting their sights on a top lane play right now.
Kayak dia nggak pengen ini aja sih, nggak pengen taunting aja.
No Ash Arrow available yet.
Atau comfortnya skin yang tadi.
Notably, Canyon not quite level 6 just yet. Doesn't have that paranoia up and available as T1 don't opt in for any sort of dive attempt. But Keen still wanting to get aggressive on Nagumi.
Tuh dia pakai skin Faker tuh ketahuan banget ininya. Nggak taunting, terus kalau menang, waduh. Nanti dihujat fans Faker cuy.
Genji have moved pays out of the bot lane matchup in towards mid, where he's much safer. That means that they can keep Chovy into the Faker matchup, where the Ahri can
Colius
continue to
bilang
bully
di
out
Dota
on
G
the
ada
Akali.
sebutan jungler
Level
kah?
6 coming through and level 7 being a crucial
Nggak ada cuy.
Akali, just because she's going to get her Q at level 4, which I think it's either about 80 energy or about 70, but it makes the Q rotations much more comfortable when it comes to trading in the lighting phase.
Vision control here for T1. Do have Canyon, but he's backing.
Mati udah sih udah. Oh,
Tap, anjir. Ditungguin skill 3-nya anjing.
sempet nyampe.
Strike out of that one, and even though he had the Grandmaster's might, he's still going down. That is going to be a kill going over, equaling things out for T1.
A classic T1 trap springs on Keen. Get a kill onto Vi, and also get the flash out of Keen.
I love that you called it a classic, because it truly is that idea that T1 makes it look like they've gone back to base, but they stay on the map a little bit longer to catch you pushing that wave out, and it works to perfection. They're able to equalize the kills, and T1 find their first of the game.
And I love this. I feel like it harkens back to something that Chovy was talking about in the tease earlier on. The fact that, you know, Faker was known so much for these mind games that he plays. I think it's all of T1 that does those mind games now. It used to be maybe a little bit too much with excessive Barons being started every single game. Becomes less of a mind game and more of a you do this every game.
A bad habit, perhaps.
Yeah, kind of. But they are always just trying to push these advantages, trying to find opportunities where their opponents don't have enough information to be able to do what they want. So really nicely done here from T1 to try and claw back a bit of control of this game. But right now, plate should be going over to Genji.
Tapi udah ini klasik gameplay Korea ya.
Too worried.
Farming doang anjir.
Level 7.
Again, it's a relatively slow early game.
Nomor 4 anjir Faker tuh.
These two teams as they prioritize farm, but also it just goes to show how difficult it is to kill these players.
Berarti nomor 3 berarti DWG.
There's a reason why Gumayushi went deathless for so long, and he's still only got a single death to his name, even though Genji absolutely stomped.
Lah Genji, oh iya kan HLE nomor 1 ya.
And it's a situation where both teams just play the map very well. They're constantly fishing for opportunities. They're playing for these early plates, but it's the
Di blank udah nggak meta cuy.
a minute away.
Oh iya T1 yang dari itu.
Keen, I imagine he wants to get a quick base in before the objective spawns, but that could be a window for Guma to already then push out mid and then set up on the top side river.
As we get into this fight,
Skinnya S anjir, skill satunya ini warna merah.
that's there because T1 can split up a fight very easily with the Greg Assault, and obviously he has owner.
Oops.
Come on through here as Zes is looking to take the fight.
Cara mana?
Does find some nice body slams.
Oh.
Just to try and escape, and you can see Canyon. Oh, he was looking for it. Potential.
Aduh.
Able to sidestep, but that does buy some space. Still, Owner not going to be committing because they didn't know exactly where Canyon was. That could have been a follow-up.
I'm actually very surprised. Keen had no flash, and Owner with ulti was in range. I think he could have committed, but I guess because Keen hadn't used his E yet,
X21 Cranialbers bilang itu si invoker Leto Kaga pernah dipakai kah di Worlds.
Udah nggak meta lagi sih itu. Siapa namanya Huey? Di yang kemarin laku.
Lumayan kok.
Oh masih ya. Pas MSI ya kalau nggak salah ya itu rajin banget dipakai.
Masih bisa dipakai sih sebenarnya, cuman apa ya? Sekarang nggak tahu midnya udah mulai jadi pengen nyari yang banyak gaya kayak Silas gitu kan ya. Oh,
Whoops. Tap skill 1.
Skeptera bilang kenapa Vi rame banget pick rate-nya.
Kenapa Vi rame banget pick rate-nya? Kenapa Dani?
Combo sama itu, kalau Vi itu sama Ahri bisa, sama Leblanc bisa, sama pokoknya sama apapun yang buat nge-pick off satu orang itu gampang.
Sama AC berarti ya?
AC juga bisa. Intinya emang kan kemarin tuh sempet yang meta-meta jadi kayak meta DC tuh. Nah itu kan kalau sama Vi ya udah nggak bisa ngapa-ngapain ya.
Carrier though has the passive to be able to reborn, and then of course also has the ultimate available too. So even though they're getting collapsed on by every single side, the TP comes in, a nice flash comes out. Carrier doesn't care, he's getting focused on the Gragas then arrives, and crucially, as you said, Chovy can't join the fight.
Bukannya dia udah ulti tadi? Oh pakai item ya dengan des pertama tadi ya?
Nggak tahu kalau ya.
Gue kira dia udah ulti deh awalnya. Gue juga sempat ngelihat postingan si Reckless tentang Reckless. Jadi katanya Reckless itu kan nggak pernah dimainin ya. Jadi dia kayak nggak bakal dapat skin nanti.
Oh.
Kalau nggak salah dia mesti main 2 game apa baru bisa berhak buat dapetin skin.
Harus main berapa dulu.
Have to do a lot of heavy lifting. A lot of the gold for Genji is on him, but into a Fed, Akali, and Owner also getting bigger and bigger. They're looking to punish Keen again.
Mereka kapan-kapan bisa juara.
Great time, 4 men at the ready.
Ikutan ini ikutan ngangkat piala. Asik juara dunia katanya.
Ada nama gue di sejarah katanya.
Nice little stun to come through there as Keen now with the counter-strike on cooldown. They're trying to deal with these waves, but another one, Conga lining in. This war of attrition looks to just be going in T1's favor, especially with all those grubs.
Top tim tiap region, LPL, BLG, LNG, WBG, TES, JDG.
And T1, no, like we don't have to dive this. We can just poke them down. The only way with the range that Genji have that they can never really push back is if they actually hard commit. But because of the vision,
Verigone bilang itu kesante kagak pernah dipakai lagi ya, Kur.
Oh ya udah nggak laku kesante cuy kayak dulu.
Cuman kadang masih dipakai masih ya.
Sekarang lebih sering pakai Jax aja. Jax, Rumble, Benar. Reckless kok nggak dimainin? Lebih jago carry lah anjir.
Reckless kalau dimainin langsung kalah ya.
Siapa yang bisa digantiin cuy? Anggap Reckless dia semuanya jago all roll gitu. Kayak nggak ada cuy. Siapa mau digantiin anjir? Faker mau digantiin kayaknya dah. Memang dia jago mid ya. Kayaknya satu Faker doang yang bisa digantiin kayaknya. Kayaknya ya.
As this bot lane turret will go, but the Herald might be dropped to mid. There it is.
Yep, that's going to be even more money going over to T1. They're happy to trade these turrets because this is so much more map control. As Canyon's doing his very best.
Tapi kalau Reckless gak bisa bahasa Korea, kok dia bisa ngajar di akademi anjir? Pakai bahasa Inggris gitu, nggak yakin gue Korea pakai bahasa Inggris.
Mungkin dianya juga yang belajar. Wajir. Oh my god.
Waduh. Oh nice Ajir.
Edan.
But just barely clipped by the hostile takeover, and Genji cannot do anything this game.
I mean, it's just a beatdown from
What?
If game 2
Mau di dive fixnya apa? Gelo, menang banyak gini ya.
Aduh ini menang mah anjir. Tinggal main benar doang nih.
Kayaknya emang bener blue side win ya dari tadi.
Dia kemarin main di T2 Academy kalau nggak salah. Bukannya guru dia coy. Kata Recklessin itu dia kesulitan di LEC cuy, kayak nggak kepake gitu. Akhirnya dia diselamatin sama T1 cuy. Kok bisa ya?
Bukan nggak kepake, kan kayak bikin super team nih. Cuman kan kalau lo gabungin 5 superstar belum tentu semuanya bisa kompromi gitu. Kayak superstar 1-2 mungkin beda cara mikirnya nih. Reckless tuh jadinya di bench. Cuman gara-gara masih ada kontrak, nggak kalau nggak di buyout dia cuman di bench aja, cadangan mati.
Dan itu udah bertahun-tahun di bench aja.
Iya. Dia di G2 di bench, pindah ke Fnatic di bench juga.
T1 when they are playing a comp that feels like it fits them versus the T1 that is on something like we saw last game is night and day.
I mean, there is like a perfect example for this.
Aku ngikutin LoL karena lagu New Jeans tahun kemarin dong.
If you compare that to what he's doing now in this game, it is absolutely night and day. And Zeus on this Gragas in comparison to the Maokai is incredible. Speaking of which, he's going to get tagged by that arrow. Still, there was no one there to follow up. So he's just going to be denied a turret take.
Reckless pas pindah G2 malah ngeflop anjir, kecewa gue kenapa dia sama Caps pindah dari Fnatic ke G2 waktu itu.
Nggak cocok gameplaynya soalnya. Kan kalau lu perhatiin Reckless tuh dia mainnya yang farming atau enggak utility gitu. Waktu itu kan gitu butuhnya ADC yang banyak gaya ya. Makanya dia kayak ya, bener-bener nggak bisa ngapa-ngapain. Terus jadinya ya udah di bench. Next seasonnya kan diganti jadi yang ADC rookie gitu ya. Jauh lebih mending gitu.
Wih lanjut gak sih? Wah anjing, Willow sekalian cowok.
Pembantaian ini sih.
Nonton di Twitch tapi co-streaming lewat YouTube kagak boleh ya Kur. Kalau dari Rose sih tetap nggak boleh sih.
18 minutes in and they are slaughtering Genji.
T1 rame itu supporter T1.
Iya anjir, ini Genji pasti ngedenger itu aja. Pasti ada dikit-dikit bass-bass itu.
Game 2 was systematic dissection from Genji. They controlled the map, they were patient, and T1 were suffocated. But in this game, T1 are just brawling.
Open bang, open.
Down. And sure, a bit of anti-synergy there as this knocks Lahen's out of the way of Faker's E. He flashes to try and
anjir, dikit lagi ya. Emang dia ada vision tuh dia?
You better collapse here. Here comes Ona, and then the follow-up comes through.
T1 from these winning positions are always going to be looking for more and more aggressive sideline punishes. And Genji, not respecting pace, just has to watch his teammates die. Nothing that he can do there.
And the travel on the shuriken backflip there as well from Faker. This guy, when he plays Akali at Worlds, it's just a beautiful.
Udah perang lagi aja.
Oh. This could be a pick as Carrier. Actually more tanky than we might have expected. He gets bailed out as well. As Faker gets another one. Make it to his owner. Is in on the
Let's go.
He's going to go
yeah.
down. The cast just to remove Pays. And Gumayushi is on a rampage. Keen is on the floor. And T1 are looking to shut out this game.
Carrier doesn't even die. Gets the full value from the bailout. The TP comes in.
Kurang tapi
400 view Kur. Oke 500 view kita dukung T1 guys. Let's go. 500 view kita dukung T1. Atau enggak kalau yang like-nya itu tembus 150 kita dukung T1 guys. Ayo. Kalau enggak gue dukung Genji coy. Lah bisa belok gitu.
Now, the Baron is on the Rift. Another bad fight for Genji will result in that objective falling. And you can see the vision coming through from Lain. He dropped 3 wards in a nice little triangle, I guess, to just try and make sure.
Nambah terus, mana ada nambah anjir.
Yeah, maybe something won't get swept.
With how deep in they are, like even a good fight might mean Baron is gone, but maybe you get like a bounty or two. Things are looking down.
Di PC teleportnya cuma dari ini doang guys, dari base ke situ doang tuh.
Ayatullah bilang udah lu dukung Gen. Dia aja dukung T1 kalau entar menang.
Nanti cuy kalau dari 500 view.
Pendukung T1 dah kayak pendukung KG.
Anjir pas banget ada Chovy. Gimana caranya peker nih cuy? Ada ward lagi ketahuan.
Now Chovy dancing around, not able to find too much more, and T1 back away.
You're completely right, Atlas. Losing Guma is a lot of the damage gone, so T1 have to be a lot more careful. Faker had his ultimate available, but they chose not to take the fight any longer. A crucial flank from Chovy. He's been largely invisible in this game, quietly farming on the side, but you look at his itemization, he is on, I mean, he's ahead of Faker in terms of itemization. So there are still avenues for Gen.G to turn this around, but they need to find more picks like this.
A very deep TP starts this off, and it's hard to respond for T1 because they don't have the vision. The Nocturne denies them so much, but this is where the wallets come
Skeptera
through.
bilang udah
Even
dukung
with
T1 aja.
the carry being taken
Pusatnya
out
semesta
immediately,
LOL.
don't really have an opportunity to chase further, because if they get another kill there onto maybe Faker, you turn it into a Baron, the game might be playable. Instead, it's a moment of respite, but T1 still have a very tight clutch on this game.
Yeah, Faker actually looking for Chovy here as he gets into the Shroud. The rest of T1 now moving up. The arrow not going to connect. As Gen.G are now looking to back away. Now it's Zeus' turn to start a bit of an engage with a body slam. And this push and pull, Gen.G putting that phalanx back together. All about this Baron right now. No one really being able to get too much ground.
Crucially, the Dragon is completely exposed. The bot wave has been pushed in by T1. Faker commits his ultimate to try and force something out from Chovy, but he holds his nerve, doesn't get dissuaded, still has his ulti available, but the problem is all of Gen.G was shepherded to the top side of the map, leaving the mid lane exposed. T1 get the objective, and now they can turn to the Dragon.
Comeback ini. Belum lah anjir, duit beda 7.000.
Intending. Only going to start that one up, but you can see Keen so far away from this on that bottom side of the map, and it's because the map is so incredibly wide and dark that it's very difficult for Gen.G to get down there as Lahen's trying to set a...
Dibilang comeback banget juga dah, masih belum gitu, masih late game T1 masih oke-oke juga.
2 for 2, but next one going to be very, very scary because a 4 Drake Hextech Soul sounds unbeatable. Shattering Strike going to get a fair bit of value here, but Lahen's still in a whole lot of trouble as Faker looking for them. Still dashing forward as the Paranoia does come down. The stun is gorgeous. The execution is perfect. And now Chovy looking to try and get out of there with that Spirit Rush. And T1, they play it slow. They accept that they're going to take that pick, and they're looking for more now as far as control of this map.
You got to remember that T1 just took a Dragon. They need to get the resets through. Crucially in all of this, while the trap was turned on its head, notice that Chovy has a 2-level lead over Faker. He has been over-grouping, and he has been denied a lot of farm. Even that top wave just now, he conceded over to Zeus to make sure that he was getting the resources. And while there are advantages across the board, Chovy becomes the sole win condition for Gen.G. If he's able to find those picks, if he can find an opportunity, then there is an avenue back into this game for Gen.G.
Ayo segera selesaikan. Belum bisa Njir. Ini mah 30 menit ini mah.
Dari tadi
Firza bilang lu gak mau stream LOL PC kur.
Iya tapi
Cacat gue cuy.
ya udah pada gak mau salah.
Iya.
Menang dikit ya udah, jangan ambil resiko, cabut dulu. Beresin lagi bentar.
Just start stacking these Drakes, because the Baron actually does a ton of damage even as we get this late into the game. You gotta have to really respect it. Not really the same for the Dragons, but that, even if you end up going for that, as dangerous as a 4 Drake Hextech Soul is, that's 8.5 minutes from now. And at that point, the gold lead isn't going to be quite as useful. I think T1, they're going to look for a pick onto someone, turn that into Baron, and truly break the back of Gen.G.
Well, Chovy hasn't been back to base in what feels like a decent amount of time because he's been sitting on exactly these items for the last, what feels like 7 minutes or something like that. But now Gen.G are poised. They're in their jungle, understanding that T1 do want to look for this Baron. They do have control vision of the area. They can get over these walls pretty comfortably. Zona going to dive into the back of the pit, take down that ward, and now T1 are going to start this one up. Paranoia can get Canyon into that pit anytime he wants, but they do need to get vision of it. They find that vision right now, and T1 immediately back away. The amount of respect being shown this game is incredibly high. T1 not wanting to give an inch.
They can just keep doing this, though. Keep forcing cooldowns. Eventually, Gen.G is going to run out of wards, run out of scryers, and they are going to have to face check.
They don't have the blue trinket on Pays. I know it looks like that on the bottom of your screen, but it is unavailable. It's the only one on their side.
There you go. Ezreal, just a check.
Yep, T1 are playing with the pressure that they have well, forcing Gen.G into this uncomfortable position. Resets have come through from T1. Vision replenished now for Carrier as he makes his way back out onto the map. Faker going to go and catch the bot wave as Chovy gets ever closer to level 16.
Only picks up a needlessly large rod, so maybe it hadn't been as long as I thought. The intensity of the game might be attributing to that one.
It's a surprisingly tense game, considering the gold deficits that Gen.G find themselves in. And I really do think it's because you just keep looking at Chovy, you see how strong he is on this Ahri, and you have to respect it. T1, though, doing what they've done all game. They move into Gen.G's jungle and say, by the way, this belongs to us. please vacate the premises as we take all of your jungle camps.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This is the slowly but surely drawing out the advantage, right? This is the safe way to win the game. T1 have been known to take some liberties as far as advantages are concerned.
Oh yeah.
Tolong lihat kasih gameplay baru. Gameplay baru apa, Njir?
Giving Chovy time to get more levels and farm himself. And so maybe when Paze has 3 items, Chovy has 3 items, that could be a time where a fight can be better here for Genji.
Bukan turut, Cok. Tadi ada berita terbaru tadi.
In these team fights later on, Zeus on his Gragas has made magic happen. T1 and on his Akali needs no introduction, and Gumayushi.
Ini gini dulu aja kita cuy, chill dulu aja ya. Kalian mungkin kalau sambil kerja dulu cuy. Nanti kalau udah 35 menit baru aktif lagi cuy.
Kamile baru saja mengirimkan dukungan 10.000. Kapan Lain menggrip lagi cuy?
Nantilah cuy. Kemarin masih sibuk nobar-nobaran.
And it's really weird because I do feel like T1
Berita mau Jaket ketangkep kah? Waduh.
I still think they are highly favored in this game. They're gonna get the soul point, and I don't think Genji really has any thing that they can do about that. But there's got to be a point where the inhibs have to start falling, or the Baron has to be threatened as the check comes through. Obviously quite early,
But
not really going to spot
those
anything.
2 dragons were so valuable because they kind of just bought them time.
Ibaros
They
Harpon
can
bilang,
choose to
Vi
concede
kenapa
this
bikin
objective as
BC?
well. The top wave being pushed in, Genji playing the side lanes methodically. They're not overforcing their hand. And what felt like a beatdown earlier, it felt like that we were going round for round in a boxing match, and T1
Aduh, gue
was
pengen ke toilet guys anjir lah.
point after point after point. But now we're kind of in this back and forth, a lot of dodging.
Baru DG kelima kah ini?
Genji have been able to stall out enough where
Iya.
it feels like their stamina has been regained. and a single
Ini
5 menit lagi
hashtag
berarti.
dragonnya ya?
Iya, hashtag kalau mungkin dikasih sih gitu. Siapapun yang dapat itu bakal repot. Jadi ya 5 menit lagi lah ya.
Apa hashtag cooldown ya?
Yang itu yang kalau attack atau skill ada petir statik ya, terus nge-slow.
Oh. Kalau di Wildrip, Eldarnya itu ada 2 biji. Apa
Diganti,
gimana guys?
bakar-bakarnya udah nggak ada.
Terus
Kan
apa
kalau
efeknya?
dulu Eldor ngebakar-bakar, kalau sekarang jadi petir statik.
Oh.
Bakar-bakarnya hilang tapi.
He looks like an imposter. He looks like Chronicler from back in
Bakar-bakarnya tiap ngehit apa ada cooldownnya juga?
Enggak, jadi benar-benar nggak ada bakar.
Bukan,
Sekarang
yang
Eldor
listriknya.
jadinya.
Listriknya ada cooldownnya apa enggak?
Kayaknya ada deh.
The next Drake setup is amazing because Genji
Gue nggak merhatiin sampai cooldown itu. Jarang nyampe Elder. Terakhir main gue juga. Gue terakhir main jarang nyampe Elder.
Nggak tahu kenapa di time out sama si... Kenapa dia Yusuf? 86.000 detik lagi. 86.000 detik apa? Berapa Jir?
Sehari.
Itu dia mah ngebahas ini Mas Moja yang dilaporin atau DPO Ajir. Ente Sakamoto ya, pakai akun YouTube lain komennya Sakamoto. Kalau di time out nggak bisa di cancel.
Bisa, lu jadiin ke 10 detik aja.
Bukannya nambah?
Enggak, itu reset.
Oh. Bisa tuh.
Bisa. Coba aja nongol lagi. 10 detikan.
Terima kasih telah menjadi membership selama 2 bulan L.
Welcome. Wah, udah ente sini janji anjir.
Ini blue side win nih.
Dan Buen itu kayak jauh terus hanya barusan juga jauh.
Ferezia F bilang mahkotamu menunggu di final Bang Fatih.
Ini mah 5 game nih kalau emang blue side win, Cok.
5 game pasti 3-2 ini mah.
Tries to flash just to clear the wave.
Yeah, King desperately trying to hold him, but he cannot. And now it's Chovy left on his lonesome. He's going to need to be that hero as these minions are going to now join these Nexus turrets. Lahen's just trying to buy some time, and he knows that this game is over. Chovy just trying to get back to its
Anjay, Packer siap banget nih.
Sempet
Woi, siap bang.
gue masih bisa nih main beginian.
Apaan tuh? God create human, human create faker aja.
Hafiz waduh bilang fucker. Freestyle dulu bos.
Yoi.
Murir bilang jadi inget El Statis waktu turni War Wakakak.
El Statis. Oh, yang pasti le.
Kena comeback kayaknya.
Skeptera bilang
Yang ini, coy.
fucker. Lu mau bancam apa gak
Lah,
ngaruh
kok nggak
lu,
bisa?
bos? Miss Rigid bilang bang kapan live?
Wih, udah lama tidak lihat Miss Rigid. Turut berduka atas Miss Rigid. Ini kan live anjing. Salah itu Saka Bato.
Lebih dari sekedar mobil. Mobile One dan Mobile Super.
Enggak, dia kayak pakai akun kedua. Coba chat lagi pakai akun yang tadi Sakamoto. Kayak udah bisa deh.
Pede banget mobile. Karena mobile lebih dari sekedar mobil. Mobile.
Suaranya doang ting. Ini cuy karena kalau gue pakai over ini yang wild ref bisa harusnya.
Pakai cara cepat aja. Minum Prama Cair dengan Pro Action Formula yang bekerja cepat, redakan.
Miss Rigid bilang demku kamu anggurin bang.
DM ku. Emang ada apa nama ini loh?
Beli merch official teamwork gimana kur?
Beli merch official teamwork gimana kur? Kayak di Indonesia nggak ada deh. Emang lu ngechat gua di Instagram yang mana anjir, gua nggak tahu ini loh. Ermi Santi ini. Siapa Jir?
Nureza bilang GW baru comeback main win grid kok jadi ada botnya di rank pun.
Emang iya ada coy. Oh ini. Wing Grip sekarang sering banget ketemu Thailand sama Vietnam. Kalau Vietnam sih sering nih.
Warga Maya bilang saran merek bantal yang gak bikin leher sakit.
Waduh, merek bantal. Coba kita lihat di kamus gue ya, kamus kehidupan gue ya. Bantal. Kalau bantal hiat, kalau bantal hotel katanya ya ada 2 cuy. Kalau yang pengen yang lembut yang sampai kepala lu tenggelam, mereknya tuh Hiat. HYATT. Tapi kalau lu pengen yang bantal agak keras, mereknya tuh Hilton. Cari yang bantalnya itu dari bulu angsa. Kalau yang mau murah beli bantal Harvest.
We see them returning to this kind of combo here, which we saw from them. This is kind of the skeleton
Katanya sih gitu ya.
and Twitch composition that we saw them bring out against HLE.
Dewa Kadal
Actually
bilang
really
Bang,
loved
apakah
the
Faker
Twitch
itu pernah
ban
pakai
here. I
skin?
thought that was smart. And then to your point,
Nggak pernah Faker pakai skin.
is great. I think Vi is such a good champion.
Bukan Giat, anjing Hiat.
For me,
Harvest bukannya toko core. Ada dia bantal cuy.
that has been stellar, and then the Gragas.
I think it's also been a really cool swap up for what Carrier traditionally plays. Like Renata, Braum have been the 2 picks that he's
Pokoknya cari yang bantal itu yang bulu angsa cuy. Bebas lalu dari mana mereknya.
going to play dive. They're going to jump in on us because that's what we've seen from them every single
Gue baru tahu anjir mereknya itu Hiat dan itu baru denger. Nggak baru denger sih, gue baru denger gue pas habis ngecek video orang. Emang mahal ya Hiat ya?
do not have an answer for what T1 are bringing.
600.000 anjir, bantal doang. Satu lagi apa gue kasih tahu tadi?
Decision making, because let's
Hilton.
look at a sequence of play, right? In grubs and at the grubs and then also in the mid lane. I did not
500.000. Harvest harusnya murah cuy, di bawah 100 harusnya.
played off. I wouldn't believe you that this was Gen G.
So T1 are way more coordinated than Gen G were in this game. Like it's undoubted, and honestly, like Gen G, they're the ones to set this up, but
Nah tuh, cuman 48.000 cuy, tapi bulu angsang ya Harvest ini.
Terima kasih senpai. Zano 354 baru saja mengirimkan dukungan 50.000.
Wih,
Convert 25 ke mantra Bangkur. BTW, kapan main TCG LoL lagi?
But also here, like Lahen's getting
Lunatera udah males cuy.
This reminds me of like game 1 against FlyQuest.
Siapa tadi, Zano apa Zeno tadi ya?
John towards quad in the mid lane. Seraphine ulted, completely shut down. These over aggressions and just not being in position as they try to take these plays. It's really strange because this is not what we would usually see from Gen G domestically.
And by contrast, here you see the coordination from
25.000, anjir udah habis mantra lu.
but they know exactly where they want to go on the map. They use these grubs so well. I did call them out in the last game for being like, why are you fighting over that?
Ketemu bot level 20-an, nicknya panjang kayak Gohyong.
So well coordinated.
Harusnya ketemu bot pas tusun aja nggak sih?
5-man pushes.
Sekarang mulai meniru HOK. Kapan tes bot ditingkatkan kemampuannya ya?
In that sequence, they knew exactly where they wanted to go. They moved as
Nobar sama Kaedrel. Dia top streamer ini nggak sih? Top co-streamer nggak sih anjing?
Faker was like, Knight, I see you on the
Number 1 league streamer kayak drama.
The magic is really there. We'll see again as we switch back to blue side. But
Udah bukan Tyler One lagi, udah bukan Kesa, udah bukan siapa ya? Yang sempat rame juga ya.
Is very good at macro, who calls a lot of the moves of Gen G. Generally, the one to be out of position. A big discussion that we've had
Miss
here
Rigid
backstage.
bilang Bang akun itu kok BS nambah WC-nya.
ADCs in terms of Guma and Pei.
Akun itu kok bisa nambah WC-nya? Akun yang mana?
Behind her from Even, not just from a
Oh, emang iya nambah? Mungkin karena ini kali akun streamer kali.
in summer, right, Emily? Outside of the finals, I don't know. You know, when
Lu nanya chat GPT ya, Kor. Gue bukan nanya chat GPT tadi yang soal bantal tadi ya. Gue apapun informasi yang gue dapat gue catat cuy.
whole team lost that game, right? But it is
Jadi gue punya yang namanya itu second brain.
That's the thing. It's like pressure makes diamonds, right? And
Coba apa yang kita tanyain ada cuy, udah kayak chat GPT cuy.
didn't step up. And then you look at the game against FlyQuest, it feels like, you know, Hanwha kind of found the issues in Genji. FlyQuest managed to
Asing ngeri amat bang di wall, nggak kayak di rank.
breaking those foundations.
Beda mah kalau di wing grip coy.
They're not finding Chovy these lane
Di wing grip sekarang apa ya? Kaisa.
over in the mid to late game. You're not having your carries perform, and now T1 are saying no, we're going to go to the style that's
Second apa? Secondnya 2 lah.
early game. We play through our side lanes well.
Di game dibikin khusus untuk orang South Korea. Kenapa anjing?
Identity on an international stage, whereas Genji feel like they've just lost themselves because those doubts have started to sink in.
Yeah, and I want to
Bot udah lama kok, tapi sekarang bot juga sering nyampe ME. Ya bot dulu emang ada sih yang nick itu kayak pendekar perang, pedang besar. Yang kata-kata itu kaku itu kan, cuman jarang banget coy. Bahkan gue main di Emerald aja push rank maupun loss nggak ada nemu bot Njir kemarin ya. Gak tahu setelah yang update baru ini.
We had already set it up in one of our prior thing. I think it was you, Dagda, that said that, where they got the better of them at an international event at a very crucial moment.
Enggak, maksudnya saya kenapa tadi lu ngomong second brain, otak kedua.
World defending their world title.
It all hangs in the balance again for Chovy, you know.
Wah, aku nggak rame di Korea karena orang Korea nggak suka game mobile sih.
As a log line, if this team can't win worlds, who can, right? But I feel like in the course of the tournament, we've seen other teams perhaps adapt.
Dante yang mana ya streamernya, lupa gue.
In the same vein though, I'm
Oh iya.
Dante itu yang Hekarim.
the red side.
Yang Hekarim ya.
Situation yet, right?
Satu lagi siapa yang disebut top jungle itu yang jadi saingan dia dulu, siapa namanya? Kalau ini orang kan dia mainnya ini Hekarim, terus satu lagi dia nggak Hekarim, ini Jarvan mainnya. Siapa guys ya? Lupa gue. Yang sempat dibikin selek gitu gara-gara viewernya doang, tapi naik blue siapa anjing, nggak laku cok. Naik blue mah just a fucking YouTuber bro.
We've been talking, or I mean, I know I've been talking about Knight versus Chovy, right? Like we want to see this matchup. We saw
Bukan Kesa.
This was going to
yang pernah selek sama itu yang gue tahu cuma Elo Santa doang.
El apa?
Elo Santa.
El Santa.
Elo Santa. Yang gue tahu selek sama Dante sama dia. Cuman nggak tahu kalau ada lagi.
Bukan ini. Masa kan nggak ada muncul guys? Dulu dia lumayan rame anjir. Coba kita ketik ya. Siapa tadi namanya yang ini tadi? Dantes. Best jungler. Dantes versus
Zano Solfox bilang itu yang spesialisasi Jarvan jago BGT di Korea, sampai ngebentuk meta baru.
And given Guma's performance and how comfortable he is on the champion, it makes sense. But I'm a big believer in when you see a champion just consistently be an issue. And in this case, it's the Ashe. Even in the games where Ashe wasn't able to actually get over the line, I feel like the pick has just felt so strong. It gives so much utility while also being a lane bully.
Well, now they can first pick it. Now T1 is saying,
how much for the fish?
Could
I get 30 orders of fish?
What? And because Genji is going to take one of them, the Aurora comes through. You imagine the Ashe is the first pick. T1 now have the choice around, do they want to grab themselves the Vi?
Siapa sih? Oh ya, Agurin.
Also, what is their answer into it? Because the truth is, Guma
waktu itu sempat rame sih.
like an Ezreal, right? This is not something that he goes to, which we've seen as a typical answer at Worlds. Jhin would be his likely response. Something like the Caitlyn would be his usual.
Udah draft aja Njir.
Could come through, but given the current meta, with all the presence of the lane swaps, I'm not sure how effective they are.
And I was going to say that this is something that we've seen come out sparingly this Worlds. This was Gumayushi's best champion for a long time. His Varus steals Barons, steals hearts. It's incredible. As Ona just playing with ours just a little bit there with the hover of the Kindred. We'll see whether he does go back to that one. As he's hovering over quite a few options. The Skarner could be a great pick away, and he is going to lock that one in.
Is this a
Baru siapa nih?
emergency pick?
Aduh, Skarner lagi nih.
Again, we saw it come up against FlyQuest. I'm seeing a very slight smile on that man's face, and this was the pick that brought Genji to Silver Scrapes. He single-handedly, and they're just running it back. They were here last week.
Yep, we've got some tape of this one, you know? Let's see what the answer is going to be from T1 though, because of course they know exactly what to expect.
I mean, Canyon's Italy. What else is there really to say? I mean, you're 100% right. Jax would be a great pick. It looks like that's going to be the lock-in for T1. Double 80 carry comps. Jax loves those. His E gets so much value out of it. He offers so much zone control. But, I mean, game 4, backs against the wall. The Nidalee comes through. The ban of the Cassante is so crucial for Keen. I think that it's such a
Anjir, ada marketing rumah ngechat gue guys, nggak gue balas-balas terus di chat sama dia. Oke, terima kasih kak tidak membalas chatku, semoga kakak sehat selalu katanya bangsa. Lagian Salas itu tuh kayak berharap banget anjir.
Yeah, playmaking for Carrier, I think, is a great thing to target, especially when Carrier is coming off a win. Because when he has that mojo, when he's feeling it, it can be very scary to go up against this guy when he has confidence, as Braum is going to be taken away from
really
the
good.
hands.
And also from Carrier. Actually really like that ban there from T1. What feels most likely here is the R4 on Renata.
Tapi beberapa minggu setelahnya ngepromo lagi si anjing bangsa.
But it does open up a Lance counter. What about a That's something that I don't think they necessarily want to go towards, and they're gonna save the kill.
Aduh, Ahri, cok. Bentar. Oh, ini Tristan Hamid ya?
Iya.
Pretty hit or miss, but it's Faker, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Ahri. Like, his Ahri has been very good at this World Championship, and I think that it makes it like this is a very Genji-esque comp in the side of T1.
It is.
Meanwhile, Genji, the Poppy, I think, offers a decent amount of value here. But
Ini apa yang kurang berarti supportnya ya?
Playing towards Kane's team fighting as well, I think is
Ininya
in this game because I think that when Kane is under pressure,
ini lagi sih paling siapa namanya yang tadi itu?
necessarily smashing lane.
They need a Leona or a Rao right now. They
Poppy
need some engagement
atas
from Genji.
Leona masih ada sih itu.
Ini enggak yang itu yang ultinya ngebikin kita sama-sama nyerang nama temen itu.
Renata.
Oh, diambilnya Maokai.
You're right. They don't know what's going to go where, and it also locks out the Rakan pick. The main reason why we see this Maokai is because it is so strong into the Rakan.
Yeah, and now there's Poppy as
Mau double flex sampai akhir.
Actually creates a bit of an awkward scenario. Normally this is where we would go Bard, particularly into the immobile 80 carry of the...
Biar masih nggak tahu ya jungle atau ininya ya.
Is it a pike angle?
Jungle mah udah pasti, cuman itu Poppy mau kayak Pike keluar lagi anjir.
Woi, let's go. Akhirnya gue bisa melihat Pike, coy. Kemarin gue nggak nonton yang Pike Njir. Anjir. Emang beneran Keria doang yang baru pakai anjing.
Emang cuma Keria yang pakai dan langsung menang.
Menang lagi
itu,
anjir.
Game Keria
bantai lagi ya?
Gila, iya.
Itu pas gue nggak bisa nobar guys anjir.
Sumpah itu horor banget Keria Pike-nya.
taking the Poppy into the Jax on the top side. In the LCK, this is seen as a really good matchup for the Poppy, and so something that Keen has played around before.
I mean, I think even internationally, we've seen it do wonders into the Jax matchup as well, especially if you're confident on the Poppy. The crucial thing for me is when playing Ashe, you need lane prio. Sorry, Ashe. When you're playing with Nidalee, you need that lane prio. We've seen Canyon succeed so well at playing around the strength and push of his lanes to put pressure on the enemy jungle, and like it is the way in which old school Damwon thrived. The laners play for Canyon.
Khodam bilang kur pendapat lu tentang Ambessa gimana? Broken banget anjir itu orang.
Ambessa Medard emang ya broken cuy, dibikin damage kah? Kemarin gue bikin tank itu kurang ini.
Fighter. Itu. Bruiser kayak itu aja. Cuman nggak tahu sih kalau yang mirip bikin 3-4 atau enggak. Cuman jadinya yang eclipse-an gitu.
Harusnya ngekill lebih dari 1.
Carry fan full damage gitu.
Total kill Keria Gus.
Gue nyobain pakai itu yang Raven yang build fighter gitu, nggak ada damage terus tipis aja. Kayak mending full damage aja nih.
Kalau main Sandarar gitu kayaknya jelek.
Agak waktu itu gue bikinnya Trinity, Black Cleaver, sama itu apa, Dead Dance. Hanya gak ada damage, tipis juga.
And they are double hail blitzing. We remember from spring 2023.
Kata gue mungkin lu belum biasa mekaniknya kali. Gitu kan soalnya skill 1 tuh sama kayak Darius, di ujung doang sakitnya.
Iya, kayak waktu itu gue anggap lah kita nggak usah pakein skill 1 ngasih damage itu ya. Gue ngelawan Garen beda duit 2 kali lipat, 4.000 8.000. Menangnya tuh nanggung anjir, nggak menang banget gitu bayarnya. Anjir, what the fuck?
Tapi Garen emang dari dulu counter yang mobile kayak gitu sih. Revenge juga kan kalau dikasih Garen mah mencret aja. Oh, ketahuan. Mau ditarik. Oh. Yang dapet.
Iya.
Dapetnya asik.
The invaders come through from Gen G though. Kalian gonna be able to steal away this buff. We'll see how Owner responds as we get standard matchups. Now this bot lane I feel is very volatile. Ashe lanes typically give you a lot of control and prio, but Varus is a lane bully in his own right. His E gives him a lot of control over the lane in a similar way, but the volley does for the Ashe. Meanwhile, mid lane, Chovy leveraging his pro. We talked about how important that is for the Nidalee. As the blue is taken away, Canyon returns to his side of the jungle.
I think we're going to need to see another Chovying performance, much like we saw in Game 5 against FlyQuest on his Smolder. We're going to need to see absolute domination, stay ahead of the curve, make sure that these items come in at exactly the right times.
Yep.
Finding the bone skewer onto the hands. That's another flash. They'll take that, and this is a T1 bottom lane that, yes, we've always known that they're capable.
Dua-duanya udah nggak ada flash di bawah.
Iya anjir. Ketakutan banget gue lihat.
Just to try and be able to trade a little bit better. Stack up that passive early.
Kali ketarik lagi gitu, satu kayaknya mati dah.
That the bottom lane is still alive and relatively healthy. We also have Owner on the opposite side of the map, and Canyon is starting or should be able to build a lead once the actual Fulcrum comes through because he got that early buff on Owner's kill.
Langsung 2 flash, iya. Baru menit 2.
He took the walls, then path back up towards the top side, which is the most frustrating thing for T1 because you look at that bot lane matchup and we're like, Owner, dive now, please dive. But because of his pathing, it's hard for him to actually be in a position to really set that up. He's setting his sights on mid after Faker got a really nice trade onto Chovy.
Yeah, Owner now driving in, looking for Chovy, just gets the flash. I think the rocket jump must have been on cooldown. And Owner is just going to take that explosive charge and be absolutely fine. Meanwhile, setting up for a potential dive is another max range bone skewer going to connect from Carrier. This guy, it's targeted, right?
That's now 3 flashes down, and for a pick as volatile as Pyke, that is a playground. You have so many lanes to play through. Owner, will Canyon hold off? They are going to know with the saplings. Canyon, I think, is going to try and play through.
3 flash kebuang. Ini enak tuh kalau kena nih. Udah balik ya.
If that back completes, that bot lane is not surviving.
So momentum-wise, you feel like everything's going the way of T1. The bot lane 2 versus 2 is winning out on the skirmishes. They got both the flashes. In the mid lane, Faker out-trading Chovy. I mean, not resulting in a huge CS lead, but still going well overall. What's crucial to remember is that Canyon is continuing to farm. Canyon's Nidalee is not terrifying within the first 4 minutes of the game, but for every minute that goes by, this champion will continue to get stronger. Keen in the top lane matchup continues to do well. It's a tough matchup for the Jacks as well. And so Gen G definitely don't have to be too terrified, even though the bot isn't going the way that they would like.
I'm also wondering if Canyon thought that Owner took his blue, because his blue has actually been up since the start of the game, because they read the early play from because Carrier caught pace, right? So I assume Canyon made the read. I figured when he went to his Gromp, he would have seen it, but Keen.
Oh yeah, there's another bone skewer being charged up. First one that he's going to miss outright.
Iya, udah ada lagi nih, ngapain tuh?
Ice cold.
Oh, nggak kena.
Continuing to walk. It's the continue to walk strategy, one that we haven't seen for quite a while. No jukes abound.
And Chronicle has been talking about this, the impact of the supports, right? We saw it from Carrier Game 1, Game 2, we saw Lahens very active on the map. Game 3, I think both supports were trying to make plays around the map, but with Carrier kind of just finding those advantages because T1 was finding advantages. But now Carrier's on a champion that has so much agency, but his AD carry is alone.
Oh yeah,
Komang Arta bilang layar kanan lu kepotong kur.
Okay, he's going to take some damage back though, yeah, that's a decent trade.
Remember
Still,
they did
summon a spell advantage.
He did do that thing last year.
Yeah, I remember that
outplayed.
I was about to say they did buff.
Emang kepotong dikit ya, cuy.
Lethality virus a little bit more, and as you rightly said, this man has a bit of a history on this champion.
I'm actually surprised it hasn't come out more.
Dibayar nggak core ini? Kalau World enggak cuy.
Especially in the hands of players like Gumayushi who are so incredibly good at it.
We talked about it on the way here, didn't we, Atlas? Where like the mobility and how like in the meta it feels it can be difficult to play, but in a position like this.
Yeah, Faker looking for Canyon, trying to find that opportunity.
Satu lagi.
With where the shot might go point blank, the charge, the stun, but the knockback with the monster shot is not enough. And first blood goes to Faker's.
Ketangkep.
Faker's Ari. That's the biggest thing here because Ari has been such a curse for so many teams. We actually have the stats here for both.
Kedaman aja nggak kepotong lagi ya.
It's a different story when it's the unkillable Demon King that has it as another.
Kok kecil banget perasaan mau kayaknya nying?
They do try and even out the fight.
Nggak tahu. Oh, anjir, dapat lagi. Dapat balik kok.
Great start for the defending world champions as Genji do manage to get back some control.
Nggak mau mereka ngerebut ya? Padahal berempat coy.
Udah keburu habis resource-nya.
That's such a hefty prize though. Lahans gets blown up, but it's the kill on Canyon in particular that is the biggest thing here. Early on, getting taken out. Faker further accelerated than Chovy.
Itu kok kepental kena ulti ini kali. Kena siapa ya?
Poppy.
Oh, yang kepental sama ulti Poppy maksudnya guys. Lo nonton sambil ngapain Kor? Sambil nonton doang. Kadang kalau lagi farming gini gue buka TikTok. Sama balesin chatnya Miss Rigit.
I mean they're all special. I was just saying that there's a lot of special. When everything's special, you have to sort of redefine where it lies, you know?
Now Genji have a stacked wave on the top side. T1 have read the play effectively. Faker's on the rotation. Carrier.
Yeah, can he charge it? He does find the knockback on the base. There's the crash into the wall as well.
Wah, anjir.
Who's gonna grab kill credit for that?
Wah, anjir.
Gimana tadi gue nggak lihat.
I mean they're all special. I was just saying.
Itu apa? Si Mokainya kedos pakai skill 2. Langsung dibawa ke turret tapi sama si Keria. Jadi tabrak scanner. Gelo.
Lah iya aja timing ininya ya. Timing mau kayaknya ya.
Zano
kayaknya malah jadi
Keria tahu bakal
lah, kenapa gue jadi ke turret anjing?
There gets very heavily punched. Now we already have 1.5k gold lead here. 4T1, only 8.5 minutes in. You wouldn't think,
watching this series, that Genji have been the father of T1 for so long.
Gue kecepatan dah.
Because World's T1 is just a different beast. They are the only team in the world where the plot line truly seems to be unbreakable.
Yeah, the script really just seems like, as much as you talk about it, it still seems infallible. As, all right, looking for a bit of an opportunity towards Gumayushi, but he does the walk strat, moves away. Carrier will be able to move back up again, trying to dodge vision as he does get back up there, but he's going to be spotted on the edge of that ward, so full information does go on over. So moving into a state of slightly less action as we look towards maybe a dragon take. Of course, that hasn't been looked at just yet. Still 10 minutes into the game, would be a relatively late one.
And one thing to do, keep in mind, is that this game still feels less explosive than the previous Pyke game we saw. And T1 did have some issues closing that one out.
They did.
As good as Pyke is...
Weh udah 500 cuy, let's go. Tinggal cari 72 view lagi baru kita dukung T1. Let's go, semangat guys.
I want to see Dragons being taken early, and I want to see that Rift Herald take down that mid lane, because the moment that control of the map is ceded and vision starts to drop, that's when the Pyke feels unpunishable.
And I also think that this whole series has been about who can play the game plan.
Let's go. Haok. Nggak main HOK cuy, main ini cuy.
Denied just yet. In the shellackings that we had games 2 and 3, it's because Genji and T1 both enabled their win conditions so incredibly well. This time around, we haven't quite seen that happen just yet. Still an opportunity for Genji to try and turn the tides of this one with moving Chovy into side lanes, obliterating these turrets and creating leads that way.
The only problem for Genji right now is they're not in a great position for grubs. They have just secured the dragon, which is a nice pickup for sure. However, on the top side of the map is T1's bot lane. Zeus does have the TP available. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has it available at the very least in a few seconds. So this is going to be a difficult objective to contest, meaning the 4 grubs will go in the favor of T1.
Don't let it go.
Mythic REPL AYS bilang kur di turni topnya kayak santai farm aja tapi di rank ribet banget dia.
Any grubs? Yep, quite rough, and there is vision. Genji obviously knew that this was happening.
Oh, carrier for a bone skewer on his on Keen there towards the top side.
Canyon pathing back towards top, ready for a potential dive. Knows that Keen needs to catch this wave. And he's working with Chovy to clear out some vision. Nice spear connects. We're going to be saying that a lot this game, I feel.
Yep.
We'll see how impactful those spears end up being, though, as now these neutral objectives fall away from the Rift. We turn back to a neutral game state, and these teams turn their attention towards the remaining plates. 2.5 minutes remaining until those fall off completely.
R1Q1 bilang musuh T10 kill LG kah keren pai. Musuh T1 0 kill lagi kah karena Pike? Emang pas lawan itu kemarin 0 kill juga?
Iya, perfect score.
Itu waktu itu lawan siapa ya? Tes ya?
Iya, top e-sport. Bener-bener dibantai semua kan. Cuman gara-gara Pike roaming.
Gak cuy, no hoax beneran real. 600 view dukung T1 beneran. Bentar, udah 2-1 ya skornya anjir. Menang dong T1 cuy, masuk final lagi dong. Rame dong nanti ini di Senayan nih.
Kayaknya.
Moja datang kayak ke Senayan nanti cuy. Let's go cuy. Gas nggak sih guys?
The fact that the Maoka, even with Lain's having a really rough performance so far, in team fights, in theory, should be able to do something like, look at the game state, look at the map state. Carrier is everywhere. Pays just keeps having to drop waves. Owner's looking for a possible punish now, and reinforcement on the way. I don't know if they're in time.
Wish.
Because those chains of corruptions would have just killed Pays, especially with the Scorpion making his way in. Lahen's a little bit late to defend the summoner spell of his lane partner. Still, just plates going over for T1. As man, that bone skewer very, very close to lobbing.
Berani banget tuh kayak begitu aja.
That's what you do, right? You lob down trees.
No vision.
That's the perfect terminology. Sure. Herald, going to be the next objective that lobbing will be commencing. We'll see who gets that objective. As right now the T1 members are resetting. Vision needs to be replenished.
Ngapain nonton Senayan, mau nontonnya di Kamboja, Kur? Masa di Kamboja?
To the top side river. But it means that they haven't had that opportunity to base, spend some gold.
700 view Moja datang ke Senayan, datang 700 view. 800 view Moja bayar utang.
We'll see what direction he goes as
bener-bener sesuatu yang tidak gue expect anjir yang itu tuh. Kasusnya anjir. Gue pengen masukin di berita mingguan gue padahal guys, tapi berita yang lain gak ada anjir. Jadi bingung gue, apa yang gue recap ya.
Si Polta kayak kasihan mah anjir.
Mau juga dong dimodalin kayak Moja guys. Aku janji tidak akan mengkhianati. Janji banget ini mah. Gak bakal bohong ini mah.
Slightly mistimed, but yeah, Keen was already softened up. And you can see Zeus makes his way into the mid lane. They are taking control of the lanes as Genji are committing onto.
Emang beneran Kamboja? Kayak omongan doang deh itu aja.
Wah.
Oh, jangan kasih kill, Cok. We want to make the history, bro.
Regens that health because he's out of vision, and Chovy still in a little bit of trouble. Zay's going to take a mid lane out of turret at the same time.
Kenapa pembuntaian gini, guys?
Way too much cost. They give up 2 turrets.
Kan Moja berarti duitnya itu mungkin di tangan dia ada sekitar 25 juta ya. 25 juta udah bisa LPK ke Jepang gak sih guys? Jangan-jangan ini mau ke Jepang, Joy. Atau LPK Korea, guys. Cukup nggak 30 juta, guys? Kayaknya dia mau LPK Korea deh. Mau menemui Bang Yos. Bang Yos sudah balik ya?
T1, they do sacrifice the Herald. It was an awkward position for them to really get in because of the Maokai ultimate. but they secured the top tower, they secured the mid tower.
Cukup kalau 30 juta mah cukup ya.
They committed both top and mid to securing those.
Kamboja kali ya, Kamboja mah nggak pakai LPK nih.
But of course, getting a pick is still worth it after securing those objectives.
Dan enggak jadi deh.
Will go towards T1, equalizing that up. But the goal difference is the most crucial thing.
Oh god, another one. We got the big souls in this series, and also this means that we've got hex gates, so teams can fight a whole lot more than they otherwise would. Also gives you a little bit of leeway in your movement around the map as well. Can certainly feel good to try and snowball things further forward.
I also have to apologize, my AD carry animation, Kraken Slayer.
Udah disampirin ke rumahnya, nggak tahu juga sih.
Gonna be the first item, a valuable first item, of course, the additional attack speed, but it still doesn't solve the problem of into this Jax.
Mau aja tanggal 2 nonton di London. 30 juta top di Kurohiko Up dapat berapa voucher Hawk? Wih, banyak banget tuh. 30 juta, 1%-nya gue dapat berapa tuh? 10% 3 juta dapat 300.000 gue. 2% berarti 600.000.
Interesting itemization here, a little bit of a stretch away from what we have seen otherwise as the Lich Bane does come through. This is something that used to be in vogue a lot, but I think
keluarga kabur atau dia doang? Gak tahu juga sih, belum ada info didatengin, disamperin gitu.
And I know we've mentioned it a lot as a whole.
Tapi dia kok kecil banget dah mau kayak anjir.
Looks like it's gonna be okay. Although Guma
efek skin kali nggak tahu dah.
Anjing langsung hilang bangsat.
Terlalu behind mau kayak.
Moja baru saja mengirimkan
sepatu aja belum jadi soalnya gitu.
Kalau Skarner ulti kena orang, terus ulti Poppy kena Skarner.
Lu jangan donate anjing, mending bayar dah.
Apa teman Poppy bakal ikut terbang juga?
Kalau Skarner ulti kena orang, terus ulti Poppy. Kalau Skarner ulti kena orang. Kalau Skarner ulti kena orang, terus ulti Poppy kena Skarner yang lagi ulti temennya. Oh, harusnya ke bawah harus ya.
Ke bawah semua itu.
T1 isn't here. Yeah, right. It's just Damon takes their spot, or D plus Kia, my apologies. But the addition of that fourth seed allowing T1 to...
Harusnya dia nggak kebal ya pas lagi megang itu ya.
Nggak sih gue. Jadi ke bawah semua. Biasanya sih yang kayak gitu ke bawah semua ya.
Lo main LPC Kur? Jarang. Anjir beneran dibikin 0 kan sih, kayak tadi 4-0 cok. Tapi ini skornya ininya 0. Kasihan Potak ya bang, udah invest banyak. Bukan invest sih, tapi lebih kayak nge-support itu cuy. Invest mah berharap kembalian anjir. Nge-support gitu biar bisa berkembang menjadi hidup lebih baik gitu.
5-0 is the score, the lead that they have. 5K is the gold lead. Baron spawns in 50 seconds. Dragon in a minute 50. Genji still have elements. They still have tools to turn the game around.
Kalau pakai skin Ahri yang skin faker yang Ahri keberatan. What the hell?
And Genji have been pushed many times this year.
Mufathel bilang terus akun WR Poltak aman Gekakur.
Aman. Untung aja nggak dijual juga ya anjing. Nggak bisa sih, harus ganti password. Wih. Wah nggak jadi, skornya 0 coy. Jadi deh.
Masih. Nggak ada yang mati. Yang jadi saking terlalu behind-nya, damage-nya kagak ada. Oh.
Genji, the idea was pretty promising there. The Ash Arrow didn't actually connect onto the Skarner. If it had, slightly further away from the tower, that could have been an opportunity for Genji at the very least to get a pick. But it connects onto Carrier on the back line, which they really couldn't follow up on. Ultimately, though, no one ends up dropping. Genji have good setup for this top tower, but the TP is committed. Can they dive?
We'll see. It's going to be a fair bit of damage onto this one. Spear is going coming out perfectly. There's a twisted advantage.
Ya, nggak 0 dong.
That is going to be Kalian taking him down.
Tidak jadi 0 cuy.
Oke. Oh, cuma dapat 2.
Oh ya, gue baru sadar aja ada Nidali, cok. Padahal biasanya di band terus ya dapet padahal Nidali.
Udah pede. Nidali doang katanya. Sini Gopai kan.
Main juga dia dapat mid sampai situ. Beda duitnya sih gak terlalu banyak ya.
They sit there and say to themselves, this should be an easy pick. His ulti wasn't off cooldown, but the collapse was crucial. Genji, I don't think you can do this dragon. They're gonna start it, but the collapse is coming through.
Asis sekarang dihitung dari kill doang kah? Asis? Enggak lah. Asis ya asis, cok. Takedown kali maksudnya. Kalau takedown tetap kill sama asis.
They're going to start by trying to take down this dragon with the resets coming through from Genji. There's not going to be an opportunity.
Champion Genji, champion desain juga semua. Poppy, Tristana mau kayak bikin susah T1 buat nge-gang.
T1 really just have Genji exactly.
Enggak perlu nge-gang masalahnya ini.
Enggak perlu nge-gang, members dia.
Iya. Selama kecuali satu ya udah seneng. Cuman Genji main engage cuma di Mokainya terlalu tipis ya.
Ayo guys, hampir 600 view guys, let's go. Masa kurang 6 lagi cuy.
I mean, worlds aside, the fact that T1 is even getting revenge for a rivalry that has been so...
Gue paham ciri-ciri orang yang bawa kabur di usia segitu dan gejalanya, karena gue juga pernah mengalami. Intinya jauhin judul pinjol. Nah itu nggak tahu cuy. 3 lagi cuy.
Beautiful flash from Zeus to get that stun for Canyon. He leaves the tower to finish off the kill, and they convert it onto Lahen's as well.
Canyon actually, I think, got aggro because of the Leandries. So because he hit the perfect spear to set up the initial damage, because there was a way.
Mukanya kayak orang Indo tadi aja.
Would have been enough, but as a result takes so much damage. Baron still here for another minute.
Let's go, dan 600 cok. 650 dukung T1. 650 dukung T1 sesuai perjanjian kita dari tadi nonton HOK ya. 650 coy. Wah, kena 2 anjir.
Wah, dapat lumayan.
Ops. Wah, mati gak sih itu?
Anjir, tapi
Carrier die cuy.
Dap. Lumayan untung sih tapi itu Genji. Baronnya jadinya udah gak bisa ngelanjut tuh.
Perezia F bilang mahkotamu menunggu di final Bang Fakar.
Iya cuy. Ini kalau ini sih gue yakin T1 menang nih cuy. Nanti di final kalau sampai T1 menang lagi nggak ngerti lagi tuh gue ini.
Tapi kayaknya kalau lawan Cina T1 bakal lebih kuat. Gue ngerasa tidak tahu juga sih tapi yang sekarang.
Makanya.
BLD soalnya dia terlalu banyak match jadi mungkin banyak belajar juga dari kemarin makin ngeri timnya. Cuman masih ada feeling kalau ini menang T1 bisa juara dunia lagi.
BLG pernah menang nggak?
Belum, BLG belum. Mereka selalu datang paling ganas tapi udahnya rungkat di BLG itu pernah ya dulu. Belum.
Tremu iklan terus bang. Kenapa ya? Gue matiin aja iklannya kali guys ya. Nanti nggak ada duit guys.
Still a 4,000 gold lead, 5,000, something like that. Not end of the world, but 2 items now onto Chovy. 2.5 on Pays. 1-0-1 now. Actually,
rungkat di semi terus Genji.
In the last fight could be huge here for Genji.
Genji udah bisa nangis ini. Apalagi yang bisa dilakukan Genji cuy. Menunggu keblundaran T1 gitu.
The one Drake, not as good of a cushion as last time, but still is going to be a big difference maker for Genji. Means that they probably should be able to get it to free items.
Nggak bisa engage juga soalnya di Genji.
Siapa? Mau engage pakai mau kayak yang sudah tidak berguna itu.
Tuh, disentil dikit sama apa tuh hilang ya. Sama Harus tadi hilang seperempat.
Mau ngeflank nggak bisa lagi juga anjir.
Zano Solvox bilang itu kalau item opportunity keluar di war, Opega menurut Lukur. Pasifnya
Opportunity apa ya?
Opportunity itu kayak apa ya? Pokoknya
Kayak
kalau lu
pasif
out of
jing.
combat lu nambah lethality. Enggak, beda-beda. Out of combat
Kalau
nambah lethality.
berarti sekali doang lethality-nya naik.
Iya. Sama kalau abis take down gitu kayak Draktar gitu. Kurang lebih.
Kesempatan ya kartu monopoli ya.
They will happily weather the storm. I want to go back to the last game as well though because T1 were playing very
Bangkur si Tens nonton World dia. Soalnya dia udah bukan pro player ini lagi. Tapi emang ya.
Bilang apakah akan ada lempar jaket kayak kemarin?
Lempar jaket yang mana cuy? Tens. Wih, Tens nonton. Tens dulu kalau nggak salah dia player LoL juga kan guys?
He was a base heal of 240 going up to about 500. If you are chunked, that alone is not going to be enough, but it might be the mitigation that Genji need to at least try and contest. And it looks like they are not giving over Soul Point for free.
Well, Keria is going to walk into Lahen's here. Pike so incredibly squishy. There's the teleport from Keen. The front line will around. Chains of Corruption do go wide. As now Lahen's, he's chunked out just a little bit, but he's going to throw his life away for a good position in a team fight. Keria.
Wih, Keria bagus nih. Posisi ini. Ya nggak kena anjir.
That's a phenomenal ultimate from Keen.
Keria, you have to do this. Lah, ulti apaan tuh?
Wah. Anjir. Wah.
Bentar. Paling
jadi malah
sih.
nyetol semua.
Baron doang sih, nggak apa-apa cuy. Paling kepos sedikit doang ini.
They punish the execution. Baron is alive, and Genji say we will not go down without a fight.
Kalau gini mau balik dong.
But that's 6-1. He's got you right where he wants you. As the Baron is going to come through.
Oh man, and look, he may not have got.
Cruz bilang bang film horor yang bagus apa ya?
Film horor, gue nggak ada nonton film horor sih cuy. Nggak tertarik.
Even when it's not supposed to. Late game Nidalee is not supposed to be a thing, but man, Keen coming in as such a hero.
The ultimate from the mouth.
Baiknya ya dapat posisi cuman miss cuy. Anjing pas banget flashnya cok. Oh ada ward di situ ya, jadi dia lihat ya. Terus ultinya Pike juga nggak guna tadi anjir, nggak ada yang dia sekut cuy. Juga nggak dapat juga ini. Pusing Pekar cuy. Mulai banyak bacot Pekar dari tadi gue lihat.
Gumayushi just doesn't have the consistent damage.
Well, Arrow gonna go wide as once
Waduh.
again. Genji are looking for Faker. Not again. And yeah, they're just like, no.
Aduh gue kencing dulu guys. Dari tadi gue tahan.
Like, what? It's the most damage in the fight. It is absolutely nutty. Maybe when he puts on Primal Surge, he gets credit for all of the extra attack speed that he gives his
I wish that we could watch that fight again because I feel like there were so many things that we missed. But all that matters right now is the Canyon's level 16.
Ayo guys, kalian dukung yang mana guys?
And now it's Genji can begin their offense. The poke from them. We talked about Gumayushi's poke. Well, now it's Canyon's turn to get a bit of revenge.
And Vedi, in the previous game, you told about the waters, you know, the feeling of, oh, what if?
Maybe it was just a game delayed.
Yeah, you were right, just a little bit early. Genji haven't done it yet, though, because all this has done is equalize the game, right?
Oh my God.
But look at that jump upwards. And the double AD carry now have hit their spikes.
All right, Bone Skewer going to connect, but the spear does too. That is a decent impale, only onto one there as Lahen's able to eat some time.
Ayo guys.
He'll be okay, man. That Primal Surge almost gave him his whole health bar back. And the siege will continue.
Masih kalah sih Jingnya yang kiri tapi.
Stacks into that passage as well, level 16, and the spears are hitting one after the other. Faker, he wants out. He's going
cuci piring, iya anjir, disuruh cuci piring malah ini ngambil mikrofon. Anjir lah.
The charm from Faker didn't actually connect, even though Ono was able to land the ultimate. The top tower is now exposed as they turn their attention to mid to try and defend. T1's base is beginning to fall apart. They still have some towers remaining, but as you rightly said, Chronicle, we turn to an even state. And the Dragon Soul is on the horizon.
Big thing here for T1, they didn't lose any inhibitors. So this brought Gen.G back in the game, but T1 still will get the opportunity to get a straight up 5v5 for this Dragon. And they can even afford to give it up. I don't think they will, given how this series has played out. A minute and a half until it's available. As an elixir of iron, thank you for pointing it out, Veti. For Keen, just trying to be as beefy as he can be.
Look at how tanky he is, though. Like, it's crazy. The Sundered Sky, this front line is exactly what they need. I was worried about Gen.G's ability to engage, but around these neutral objectives, they're still able to find the fight. And what looked like a devastating collapse from T1, Gen.G handled it so beautifully. Summoners are coming up. Maybe T1 can find an angle before that flash is back up for Chobi. I don't expect it. It's Gen.G with control around the Dragon.
No.
The amount of homework that they're doing as well, you can see this vision shut out. Yep, lights go off. And there is an umbral glade.
Aduh, jadi bisa menang dong Gen.G ini cuy, nggak apa-apa lah. Bener cuy, kita akan pendukung Gen.G cuy ya. Let's go. T1 ini gampang ini cuy.
Another thing is that T1 doesn't actually have great hard engage.
Kayaknya.
Which is why the game felt so one-sided. But outside of owner going in or
kemungkinan di Dragon pecah nih fightnya, kelihatan menang siapa yang menang.
That is a lot more telegraphed, or it puts you in a position of danger. And engaging onto Gen.G is also a nightmare.
Mufathel bilang Dinda umur berpakur. Kan luketnya 23 kan ya?
Umur gua 19 coy. Dinda umurnya 45.
Oh, umur gua 12.
Is what I'm saying. T1 can bide their time. I just don't think they will.
H.
Wah.
Nice juga tuh anjir. Oh, dapet tuh ini faker anjir.
My god, hilang.
Wah, menang Gen.G ini mah coy. Mantap, let's go.
Belum. Itu apa itu dia di Jax ya?
Aduh, sendirian cok.
Jaxnya dapat angle flank ya. As usual.
Gak ada lagi yang damage Njir lah.
Oh, ketarik.
Ngeri banget Zeus cok. Waduh, we lost kita guys.
Tutup dong.
Kelar dong gamenya coy.
Tutup sih ini mah tutup ya.
Aduh, nggak ke work dong kita guys.
Iya, udah tutup. Nidali sendirian harusnya nggak bisa ngapa-ngapain. Wah.
Waduh.
Itu 16. Oh, enggak belum, kayaknya belum win. Anjir mau dikomit gak jadi tetep.
Oke, let's go. 650 dukung T1. Let's go. T1 menang cuy. T1 cuy. Let's go, T1 menang cuy, let's go. GG Faker, ente janji. Kita akan melihat Faker nanti di Senayan cuy. Di Senayan Park, Ambatukam Park ya. Datang nanti guys, nonton Faker di Ambatukam Park.
Gila.
Gokil. Ternyata bajunya T1 lebih putih daripada Gen.G cuy.
Lebih bersih.
Kayaknya gue liat semangat banget nih.
Hafiz waduh bilang Gangliot Vtuber terselamatkan.
Iya cuy. View Grand Final terselamatkan cuy.
Masih malah jadinya kayaknya sekarang final bakal paling ramai ya. Ada T1 ada BLG lagi kan ya.
Itu datang nanti di final.
Enggak, gue mah kayaknya nggak tahu.
This is 2017. It was Samsung who caught him in that same position on the Karma, but instead it's a different form of T1 with different members that rally around Faker this time.
Ente janji.
Bilang kamu akan datang bangkur di Senayan pas final. Nanti kita
Ente covi.
Noto Kato bilang karbit.
Mana ada karbit cuy.
Kira happy banget ya.
Iya cuy, nanti gue datang pas grand final cuy. Gestarnya nanti Moja cuy. Sebenarnya yang soal utang kemarin itu prank cuy. Untuk meramaikan world.
Imagine that man as he stood up from his seat, shaking, shivering.
Itu anjir tuh. Gila.
Ini bawa sepatu.
Bener-bener sebelum kena anjir ya.
Lah, kok gua di sini katanya.
Singgi 72 bilang Senayan bareng Mojakur.
Jangan bahagia cuy. Yeay, kita ke world lagi cuy. OT menang kedua nih cuy katanya.
Anjir. Kalau menang lagi keren sih tapi ya. Soalnya di Koreanya kan T1 kelihatannya struggle banget ya.
Behind them as well. It makes it so much sweeter to overcome the adversity they faced this summer. Again, like
Syaiful Bahri bilang let's go final Enayan ada Babang Peker. Wakak.
Back to back. It's them. It's
Iya
only
cuy.
them that have been able to do this. T1
Jangan lupa datang ke Senayan guys. Tanggal 2 November.
Kato bilang pur. Kapan buka toko kartu lagi? Udah lumayan update barunya.
Apa update barunya emang?
Coming to summer, you barely scrape in. You go to 5 games against KT. You then you get knocked out by Homa in playoffs. You don't even make it to finals. Everyone is thinking this is the year T1 fumble, and we've got to look at.
Anjir nangis banget tuh gue lihat tuh.
Take the mantle. A team like Homa who were coming fresh off the heels of a first place in the LCK. But no matter what, it feels like once you get to internationals, it is T1 who will always represent the LCK and always be the team you have to take
That's
down.
why we predicted T1. And
Exactly. Big rain
people
in
who
the
don't
corner.
see it just don't see it. What can I
Believed in the
say?
magic. And the world's magic is so real. I feel like
Ini cuy, lihat. Reckless the master of bench player menjadi player yang menang world hanya dengan berada di bench cuy. Kalau emang beneran
Jualan kartu Ghost School.
Fix menjadi the best bench player.
8 pick viewer T1 vs Gang.
Gokil juga cuy.
What you were saying about that magic, it's true, and it convinced me, and that's why I predicted T1 also today. Also, you know, kind of you can never count them out at World.
Tadi pas mulai panelisnya ngejelekin T1. Apa emang katanya?
The way they handled TES, right? And seeing how everything here was so
Caster cewek yang kacamata nggak ganti baju kah? Kemarin pakai baju itu juga Njir. Banyak kali stoknya cuy. Atau pakai dryer cuy ya.
I really like the way they did it, right? Like their draft adaptations have been really good. I think they found stuff that's super comfortable.
Di bench nggak dapat apa-apa Njir. Dapat inilah kalau misalnya nih kita lihat di Wikipedia nih 2024 World T1 kalian klik. Nah ada Reckless di situ coy.
Ada Reckless.
Singgi 72 bilang Moja CBJ jadi bate 1 kahkur.
Iya coy.
Bahri bilang dalam pikiran player lain. Udah apa pensiun Peker? Gantian.
Nih kita klik kan. Aktif roster. Lah kok cuma 5 kok nggak 6 cuy?
Karena emang dia cuma masuk ke itu doang. Apa? Cuman Worlds doang dimasukin slotnya. Bukan masuk ke roster utama.
Tapi ada nama Reckless lah di sini cuy. Karl Martin Erik Larsson.
Soalnya kayaknya emang ketentuannya harus bawa berapa orang gitu kan. Minimal 6 gitu kayaknya. Banyak yang masukin coachnya soalnya. Manajernya dijadiin player roster juga banyak kemarin gue lihat.
Apa jangan Reckless dibawa ke sini sekalian mulang ini guys ya. Bawa ke sini habis itu nggak dibawa lagi ke Korea guys.
Genji les a battus 10 fois d'affilée, 10 fois d'affilée avant qu'ils arrivent finalement à les battre aujourd'hui et se hisser une.
Kenapa lo tiba-tiba pakai bahasa itu Njir?
Nggak tahu.
Genji beat you guys 10 times before you finally defeated them today. Tell me about it. What made it special? What made today different?
젠지가 사실은 오늘 경기 전까지 T1 상대로 10연승을 달리고 있었습니다. 오늘 어떤 점이 달라서 다른 결과가 나왔을까요?
이곳이 월즈이기 때문입니다.
Because this is Worlds.
C'est les Worlds et on sait que pendant les Worlds, T1, c'est une bête absolument différente. Mais qu'est-ce qui les rend différents? Est-ce qu'ils sentent, eux, justement, quand ils jouent ces matchs?
Panjang tuh translate-nya.
I have to follow up on this because we keep on hearing that T1 at Worlds is a different beast. Do you feel anything different when you play on the world stage that makes you pop off the way you guys did so far?
말씀하신 것처럼 T1은 정말 월즈 무대만 오면 더 특별한, 더 강력해진 모습이 나오는데요. 선수분도 스스로 월즈 경기를 치르실 때 뭔가 다른 느낌이 들기도 하나요?
개인적으로는 좀 그런 느낌이 생기는 것 같고 좀 더 게임에 집중하고 몰입할 수 있게 되는 것 같습니다.
Personally, yes. Somehow I get to focus up even more and also I kind of get into the flow state.
Il arrive à vraiment
Flow state? Lu masuk ke zone kayak Kurohiko Langsung, jing.
la force d'arriver
Flow state.
à avoir les bons résultats, les résultats attendus pendant les Worlds. Et je me rappelle que quelque chose qu'il a dit l'an dernier en interview, c'était justement avant d'arriver en finale que c'était T1 qui dictait la méta aux Worlds l'an dernier. Et je me demande, dans une méta aussi ouverte que celle qu'on a cette année, est-ce qu'il a un sentiment similaire? I remember that on stage last year, when you did the interview, when you reached finals, you were saying that T1 is so strong right now because you are dictating the meta. Do you have a similar feeling this year, especially given how open the meta has been at Worlds?
작년 월즈에서도 결승 진출을 확정 지으시고 무대에
Iya, apa ya meta yang unik di tahun ini ya?
Flow state memang real job.
가장 큰 이유가 우리가 메타를 지배하기 때문에.
Ya, FlyQuest doang yang main aneh-aneh kemarin.
계신가요?
저희가
Ya sama mentok ini paling Piker ya udah ya. Sisanya mah meta.
I can say for sure that we have the best meta read so far and we are dictating still.
Ils ont la meilleure.
Flow state emang real cuy, bisa juga disebut Amazon.
C'est le cas de T1 et c'est encore le cas cette année pour les championnats du monde.
Rata-rata isinya Spanyol orangnya bagaimana anjir? Pasan di London dah. Oh di Paris ya?
Paris yang sekarang, London yang nanti.
Oh iya.
Final.
Que ce roster arrive en finale des Worlds, quelque chose qu'on n'avait jamais vu par le passé dans l'histoire de League of Legends. Il y a forcément quelque chose à dire sur cet achievement qu'ils ont réussi à faire. This is the third time in a row that
Itu dia pakai bahasa Manihes guys. Oh baca Prancis itu guys.
How do you reflect on this achievement and what it means to you?
French.
3번 연속 월즈 결승 무대에 진출하셨고요. 같은 로스터로 3번 연속입니다. 이런 성과에 대해서는 어떻게 생각하시나요?
월즈 결승이라는 게 참 프로게이머들에게 꿈의 무대인데 이 로스터로 3번이나 올 수 있음에
Zano Solfox bilang zaman muda dulu, flow state sering keprok, cuman udah tua gini malah dek-dekan jantung.
Iyalah.
Finals is the dream stage for every professional player. I am very grateful that we pulled it off together on the same roster for 3 years in a row, and I hope we can have a good outcome this time.
3 tahun gak ganti roster.
Arriver en finale de championnat du monde, c'est le rêve ultime de tout joueur de League of Legends et il est vraiment heureux, honoré d'avoir réussi à faire ça justement avec les mêmes joueurs, avec le même roster et il espère justement que la semaine
Nanti finalnya di tanggal 2 November guys. Nobarnya mulainya jam berapa? Jam 7 apa jam 8 malam gitu. Di Senayan.
En interview Bambine hier, il les attendait. Il attendait de pouvoir affronter T1 en finale des Worlds et c'est chose faite. C'est le match que nous aurons la semaine prochaine. BLG contre T1 et on sait ce que T1 arrive à faire contre la LPL. On va voir ce que Gomayoshi peut en penser. When I had been for interview yesterday, he said that he wants to face off against you guys. He wants to defeat the world champion and bring pride to the LPL again. Do you have any message for Bean and for BLG, your opponents, for next week?
어제 이제 빈 선수가 인터뷰에서 T1을 결승에서 만나고 싶다. 월즈의 T1 디펜딩 챔피언 T1을 잡고 또 우리 LPL에게 엄청난 그런 위상을 높여주고 싶다라고 말씀하셨는데요. 혹시 빈 선수 또는 BLG에게 전하고 싶은 말씀이 있으실까요?
제가 작년에 했던 말을 잊지 말아야 될 겁니다.
잊지 말아야 될 겁니다.
You better not forget what I told you last year.
N'oublie surtout pas ce que je t'ai dit l'an dernier. Voilà.
Lebih ke zuek juga. Lebih ke zuek. Ya begitu cara pakai bahasa French ya.
Du coup, Paris, pour conclure.
Banyak dia pengen ditanyain anjing. Gila.
Naikin view banget.
Nah, biarin dulu watch time-nya anjir.
Iya.
Gak belajar Korea, Kur. Nantilah kita belajar Korea. Alfabet Korea ada berapa, cuy? 26 juga, Kak. Capek gua.
C'est notamment grâce à vous. J'ai vu tout le soutien que vous aviez apporté à T1, tout le soutien que vous avez apporté à toutes les équipes. Donc j'ai préparé un cadeau qui n'est pas que de ma part, qui est de notre part, à tous. Vous allez voir. I want to say thank you to all the fans, thank you to all the teams, but also the fans wanted to say thank you for everything you brought them. They were so hopeful and really, really looking forward to seeing you. So we have a gift. France has a gift for you.
Dari siapa?
I present you.
Apa tuh kue? Oh, ini ya. Apa namanya? Apa namanya, guys? Yang jadi meme di TikTok itu? Apa namanya ini dah?
Croissant ya.
Oh iya, koesan. Kuasong baca cuy. Kuasong. I go to the store, I buy croissant and I eat croissant. I brought to home my croissant.
Ini apa anjir, Faker brokoli sekarang ini dikasih croissant ya.
Croissant, bener sih, croissant.
Uganda William bilang molen Perancis.
Benar cuy. Gila, sangat bersemangat. Udah mau nangis, Jir.
Laksmana Cogan bilang udah kayak Faker yang dulu tapi makan brokoli lalapan mentah.
Kalau yang brokoli dulu dikasih ini kan ya, si caps ya?
Bukan, kalau lama dari gitunya juga, soalnya dari rakyatnya juga sih, Bang.
Isn't it crazy? Like when you kind of think about Guma, right? You had the beginning. Sometimes he wasn't always the absolute pop.
Striker itu kalau sebelum tanding gitu ngomong kalau menang katanya dia bakal makan brokoli gitu, lupa gue juga. Makanya dikasih gitu.
Including a big part from the bot lane in Worlds last year. Then, I know we laugh at the stat, but kind of the unkillable demon god over there, like the prince. But then also, and most importantly, Faker and the broccoli. No more. Guma and the croissant, you are my new best friend.
Everyone will get a signature food.
Cultural impact, baby.
I love the way everyone's going to be signing croissants now.
Oh, no.
But genuinely, like...
Kok dia nggak nyebut croissant, Cok? Nyebutnya croissant dia, anjir.
Croissant, emang croissant aslinya.
A signature food.
Cultural impact, baby.
I love the way everyone's going to be signing croissants now.
Croissant, anjir.
And still get all the resources that
TikTok salah sih, anjir. TikTok croissant.
That's why I thought he was impeccable today. He was incredible.
Admit it. You can admit it. We were gonna give it to Karya, but you saw his.
Itu emot Packer.
That croissant.
Packer tangannya putih cuy, bukan kuning cuy.
Oh my God. Oppo player of the series is Gumayushi. No, just kidding. We decided it beforehand, but it was hard, right? Because all these players stepped up today.
I thought that the replay was gonna start with a big.
Mungkin FYP croissant nggak nyampe ke dia kali cuy ya.
Yeah, I think like it was these kind of fights where Gumayushi was just absolutely insane. The entire time we're watching this is like, oh my God, this is the moment Genji turn around, but Gumayushi, his position.
Ini bantap nih. Ini siapa? Oh yang pertama tadi ya. Oh game satu tadi ya.
That's what makes him so special. There are very few people that can be low resource and still have the impact. There's
and as we get the replay of this,
Gue belum pernah makan croissant guys. Rasanya kayak roti kah?
him on this Ash pick as we talked about. Picks that have dictated the meta, him and Elk.
Dibilang roti banget enggak sih?
Apa kayak molen?
Kulitnya kayak molen tapi lebih kerasan lagi. Apa ya yang mirip tuh gue lupa namanya.
I think on Ash arrows, but both of these guys know
Yang
where and
Bretol
when to
enak.
hit based on setup from their team. I think that's really good. And then going forward, he's had such stellar performances. I cannot wait to see these two bot lanes go up against each other.
Kayak mentega gurih gitu.
And you mentioned
Jadi kayak rada kerenyes
Lembut-lembut
gitu.
banyak gitu dalamnya.
as well, so it's going to be a very fun clash.
Dalamnya iya, dalamnya lebih banyak. Cuman lu kulit yang kayak rada crispy dikit gitu loh.
In the excitement of the winners and rightfully so, but for Genji, I mean,
Kalau mau lihat mah pisang anjir.
unbelievably heartbreaking and you had that
Enak bertal itu koisang apalagi kalau panas.
going into this best of 5, knowing that actually the odds are stacked in your favor, knowing that actually this should be yours. Oh my god, it's just horrible, but they just weren't good enough.
Gak sebasah kue sus, tapi
But I think that's it. It's when
masih lebih
it's
kering.
almost destined to be yours. That's when the
Kayak
pressure is on.
deskripsinya bener sih kayak molen, cuman lebih crispy, lebih gurih, lebih
You saw what they're capable of.
lebih itu aja kulitnya
They
udah.
wanted one more trophy, but unfortunately, when push came to
Gue
shove,
makan kuasong otentik gak kor? Gak butuh otentik, gue yang butuh enak.
now happens with T1, but genuinely it did. You could see those struggles already starting, and it was just blowing
Pizza juga mau otentik juga kalau tidak enak gue tidak suka.
With
Gitu.
HLE in finals, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone's talking about the golden road all year long for Genji because of how good this team looks and because of winning MSI. And then you see the first pebble drop in finals versus HLE, and people are like, I still think Genji's, better stuff. But then also here, you just feel so bad for those players getting so close and having to go up against that.
Golden road, maybe there was no road at all.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, the road goes through T1.
Yeah, it sucks, right? And it's the typical one where it's like you get judged on your last performance when they were awesome for a lot of this year, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. I mean, and can we just, as we're about to sign off, Faker could win his 5th.
I know.
What the hell?
Or Bin and Knight could win their
first. Yeah. I mean, it's both are great.
Yeah.
Both good, but it can't happen together.
I mean, it's just absolutely insane that again we see T1 taking to the finals after
Artinya apa Kur?
what was not
Gak
a
terlalu
good
penting.
summer for them, what was a disappointment for the fans, but they always seem to turn on when it matters most. But
Tuh tanggal 2 nanti guys.
push over, and honestly, this is
BLG lawan T1.
finals. Like this is going to be
3-1 tes 3-0.
Yeah, and I think that's
Pantas juga sih kalah Genji lawan Fly aja 3-2, Cok.
T1
Iya nggak salah sih, cuman anjir, ini sih ngeflopnya parah.
we're seeing ramp up in time to face other finals, and now we have Laura and the giant croissant.
I mean, yeah, you had to see it actually. That's the
Wait, if we have a piece of it, will we also be eligible to win the World Championship?
That's the best I can
don't
wish
think
you,
so.
but yeah.
Laura, can you give us
Get
the
in there,
lore
Kobe.
of why you did this? Or
So basically, I saw T1 during the Swiss stage and everything, and they were telling me about French pastries, and I spent a lot of time in Korea, and I was telling them, you haven't tried real pastries until you tried French pastries. So I was like, why not bring them a normal-sized croissant?
And can we say they have some abominations of croissants over in
yeah,
Korea?
yeah, smashed and everything. So it was about time we discovered the real thing.
Amazing.
right.
I'm glad you joined us. Is there anything you want to say about how your home city has treated League of Legends and the players?
It's every time we have international events here, honestly, we're blessed, and I rediscover how passionate French audience can be around League of Legends. They have allegiance.
Ternyata itu idenya si ini cuy.
They support League of Legends, and they
Si cewek ini cuy.
want to celebrate League of Legends together, and I hope that's what you guys felt for the past 2 weeks, because
Cuman gara-gara apa? Gara-gara tahu si Gumanya suka kan?
Leave, but then I think what's on the horizon.
Kalau nggak soalnya biasanya nggak serandom gitu tiba-tiba.
That's it. Anyone has some kind last words?
Oh no, Paris has been amazing. I'd love to hear. Thank you so much for everything. You've been amazing, Laura, in terms of welcoming us to your home city.
Yeah. Shall we do a synergized Guma reaction to
Kuaso Tamboy Kun. Iya cocok tuh Tamboy.
It's good! And we are so cheesy. Oh my gosh.
We're terrible.
Yeah, we are. But I hope you enjoyed your show here from Paris. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to production. Thank you to the wonderful
Oke guys, thank you semuanya guys. Thank you sudah nonton, thank you sudah like, thank you sudah subrek, thank you sudah donate, thank you sudah super chat, thank you moderator sudah bekerja. Kita ketemu lagi di live atau video berikutnya guys ya. Jangan lupa nonton World 2024 di Senayan. Gue lupa tepatnya mana, cek aja di Instagramnya ya guys ya. Gratis guys, yang cepat nanti bakal bisa dapat merchandise juga harusnya ya. Oke, thank you semuanya guys. Thank you Nardi. Kita ketemu lagi di live atau video berikutnya guys.
Thank you Kun.